peaceful, peaceful, peaceful.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, June 4th, 2020. This is your award-winning Gimel Nation Media Assassination episode 1248.
This is No Agenda.
Fighting the Subbots and broadcasting live from Opportunity Zone 33 here at the frontier of Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where the watchword is peaceful, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Peaceful?
Yeah, you notice I have 3 super clips on today's show, super cuts on today's show.
Supercuts, yeah. We love the supercuts. Supercuts, man. Yes.
You know, none of them would. I was looking for a specific one, and in the process, I found 3 I didn't really want, but they're pretty good, so I put them in here. But the one I was looking for was a supercut of, and people should pay attention to this, the amount of times the mainstream media uses the word peaceful. Peaceful demonstration, peaceful protesters, peaceful, 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 peaceful. And then they show looting.
Yeah.
And they had one guy on CNN, I swear, that Valley guy, whatever, he's got a funny-looking guy with a big, it looks like an egghead.
Yeah.
He's standing in front of a burning building.
Saying peaceful protesters.
Saying it's a peaceful demonstration. The building is on fire.
It's unbelievable. So do you want to do supercuts, or can we talk about my morning problems
No, we'll do
first?
the supercuts throughout the show, because we had to talk about
My morning problem.
there's a lot to talk about, obviously. This is but you have a situation that occurred that I think is worth discussing.
Yes.
I have some thoughts on it.
Okay. So I woke up this morning, as I do, around 5:30 on show day. And, I've got my systems all ready to go. And so now I have to go sort through. And, of course, I use a lot of email. Email is one of my main tools. It's a feedback loop we have with all the producers around the world. And I wake up to 20,000 emails and counting. Every minute, there's 50 to 100 new emails coming into my inbox. And
This, by the way, is funny, but it's a nightmare.
Well, what's happened, and it's all fixable. I mean, so first of all, right away, I got a hold of Void Zero. I'm like, dude, something's going on. We've got to stop, because my disk was running out. The emails with attachments, and just stuff is filling up. So we change the MX record and send stuff over to one of his servers, server that can handle everything, so we can at least figure out what's going on. So what someone has done, it's actually quite ingenious, is they have some kind of bot or script running that goes to any newsletter or website that you can sign up for. And there's a lot of standard URLs for this stuff in the back end. So it may be wordpress.com/signup/? email address. And so that thing is just running, and it's subscribing me to thousands of email lists. I'm signed up for all kinds of e-commerce stores. I mean, this is a really nasty one. Nasty.
What did you discuss most recently with MoFax?
Well, I'm sure someone's pissed off about just pissed off at me for some reason. Of course, we discussed black and white issues, as we always do. I'm sure it was controversial for someone, but maybe it was, something that was said here. Someone is angry. Someone is very angry and deployed this. And that's not a simple thing, although it could be done fairly simply, but still you have to have, there's a lot. I mean, it's just incredible how fast it's all coming in.
Well, the possibility exists that there is not a robot out there or a bot out there going and doing these things in real time, but actually a giant database where somebody's accumulated all these sites, and with a one click, you just put your email address in there, and it just hits the database, and then you get all this stuff just streaming at you as fast as it can. Which would be something you'd find. I could imagine somebody dreaming this up and using it as, and you may be just a test case. I never heard of this one before.
Well, I haven't either. Neither had Void Zero. But just to give you an example, so I'm just looking at. So since we started the show, 600 emails have come in. So your account on Hamilton Wholesale Meat. There's a lot of Russian ones. I know that's the best one. Welcome to Praxis. Test, just a test. Welcome to Armenstamp.com. Willkommen auf 115 BC. We're glad to have you here, says The Blaze. Oh, I've been subscribed to The Blaze several times. God. This is clearly someone who wants to just mess with me. Verify, contact us. Oh, man, it's insane. Newsletter subscription success. Thank you for your message. So,
well, that's interesting.
Well, some email lists subscribe you without a confirmation, without you clicking on a link.
Oh, that could be.
Yeah, so I'm also getting a lot of saying, hey, you're already subscribed. So it's cycling through its list, it's cycling through its database, or has double entries.
Hey, you're already subscribed. Well, it doesn't make any difference. You want that because then you keep pounding the person with more useless email.
Yes. It's just this unverified email address.
I mean, you could just, in fact, if you wanted to, you could just put one name on there, just have it pound that one name and keep sending you a message that you're already subscribed.
Yeah.
To infinity. I mean, you don't have to even go through all this extra rigmarole.
Well, what's interesting...
It's interesting. It's fascinating.
What's cool about it is that you can't really block it. You know, you just can't block all these IP addresses that are connecting to the server because, they're coming from legitimate companies. But it's distributed, so there's no range that you can block or anything like that. So we're just going to do Bayesian filter on it all and run it all the way down to the ground unless it stops. It may never stop. I mean, this could go on forever if it seems like it's a pretty simple application.
It wastes too much bandwidth on the other end. It has to stop at some point.
Yeah. So anyway, to answer your question on MoFax, we talked, of course, about what's going on. It's not a one episode type thing. So it's ongoing, but we really discussed...
What day did you do the last MoFax?
Tuesday, so June 2nd. We talked about...
It sounds like the right propagation time for it to get around, and somebody
could be.
Irked.
Well, I'll give you the synopsis, and then if you don't mind, I'll just go into someone who explained... So we did two, almost 3 hours about what is blackness, what is black, why do you have to be a color? I mean, it really took me almost 2 hours, and that's MoFax with Adam Curry, if anyone wants to listen to the show, which I recommend you do. Took me almost 2 hours to figure out that what he was really saying is that all of this doesn't really come down to color or race, but class. And he was very elegant in the way he explained that. And, of course, it fits in with all the different things that we've talked about in that show over the past half year or so. But it really all boils down to poor people. And poor people are being made poorer and being marginalized. And, of course,
poverty is the real issue.
Yeah, poverty is the issue.
No one wants to talk about it.
Well, Bob Woodson, who is he's like in his 80s now. He's a civil rights activist. I don't know exactly the extent of his civil rights activism, but he's definitely been around. He was on C-SPAN all the time. So I guess he's an authority. And I have a couple of clips that really boil down to what Mo and I discussed, but it's much shorter. So this is him on the history of the cities where these riots are taking place, which, to him, no surprise, are run by liberal Democrats.
As a veteran of the civil rights movement, one of the great promises we gave to low-income blacks is that if you were to elect blacks to public office through Voting Rights Act, and we were running those institutions, that all of Black America would be better off. In the past 50 years, $22 trillion have been spent on poverty programs. 70% goes not to the poor, but those who serve poor people. So many of those people taking office use this money to create a class of people who are running these cities. And now, after 50 years of liberal Democrats running the inner cities, where we have all of these inequities that we have, race is being used as a ruse, as a means of deflecting attention away from critical questions such as why are poor blacks failing in systems run by their own people? if race was an issue, even the criminal justice system. And if we continue to look at life through a racial prism, when evil wears a black face, it will escape detection and therefore correction.
And this discrimination based upon color, because a lot of it, this is literally about describing people based upon color, and then lumping them in politically and saying you're all, one color, you're all black or people of color. But in the early 70s, there were still historically black colleges and universities that would not admit African Americans to a black college, African Americans, if they didn't pass the brown paper bag test, which means if your skin tone was darker than a brown paper bag, you were not admitted to the black college. So you have to understand that these things, this classism, because that's really what it is. It's, you're poor, and there's a whole bunch of historical reasons why some very dark-skinned African Americans are poorer than others. And it really goes all the way through to what we're seeing today. Here is the truth about Minneapolis, what is happening now after these initial riots. Same guy, Bob Woodson.
When you have low-income people in these people like in the Phillips section of Minneapolis, and these are ethnic neighborhoods, business centers that have been wiped out. People cannot get to the stores now, and they're crying out, and they're saying when everyone goes home and the cameras are gone and the civil rights grace-wreathing celebrities, have done what they have done, low-income people are the ones who are suffering and they will continue to suffer. And that's why we must confront this and not allow race. We must deracialize race, and we must desegregate poverty.
And it really irks me when I hear this, that so many of these kids, I'll just call them kids, after they protested and spray painted and maybe helped burn and riot a little bit, they all went home and they all took their skateboard money and they donated to the bailout fund for the true evil people who are really doing crazy shit. And even worse, they didn't donate directly to some bailout fund. No, they donated to Act Blue. Act Blue, who sucked that money up right away. You think that's going to go to a bailout fund? Oh, please. So stupid.
How dumb can you be?
So Bob Woodson left the civil rights movement for a number of reasons, which he details here.
I left the movement because I realized that many of the people who suffered most, poor blacks, did not benefit from the change. That their demographics was used by some of those leaders. It's more class than it is race. And so they used it, and now race is being used to deflect attentions away from the failures of people running those institutions. The question is, why are black kids failing in school systems run by their own people? When Eric Holder was the U.S. attorney in Washington, D.C., a lot of young people were shot by the police, but they were black police shooting black kids, and not one was prosecuted. But there was no public outcry, because as long as illegality or evil wears a black face, then it escapes detection. And that's what's wrong with looking through life through the prism of race.
And so then the logical conclusion is what is really going on here.
I really think it's white guilt, it's really a white guilt, and also it's an easy out. There are two people that I think are destroying this country, and that are guilty white people and angry, rich, entitled blacks who continue to play the race card. And they don't have to live with the consequences of their advocacy. When they're talking about the worst thing that can happen with police, right now, it's very ironic that as police nullification occur and they don't patrol in those communities, the murder rate goes up. And so actually, when these middle-class people who live in safe communities are villainize the police, but low-income people the murder rate goes up. Less police, more black-on-black crime, more black-on-black deaths. Poor people are being hustled by these middle-class Politicians, as Malcolm X said, they're being bamboozled, scammed, hoodwinked, and one day that sleeping giant is going to wake up and understand who the real culprit is. And it is people who look like them who are failing to use their positions to profit the least of God's children. Instead, they're using it to benefit themselves and their own group.
Make no mistake, it is happening. It is so well done and so well prepared through years of indoctrination in the education system, movies, all of Hollywood, all entertainment, that people went out in the Dam, in Amsterdam, in Rotterdam, shaming American cops. What the hell?
In Auckland, New Zealand.
I mean, this is...
What do these people have to do with our business?
And there's enough racism issues in the Netherlands. They got enough problems, but no.
London, too. London had the same thing, 100,000 or plus people.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me. Well, I blame the whole thing on international conspiracy.
Well, yes.
But the highlight of it would be Antifa, and I have a series of clips.
Ah, yes. You have, you teased that in the newsletter. By the way, I'm sorry, I did not, as promised, send you a picture of me with my crazy mask.
There's another newsletter around the corner.
It's always just around the corner, that newsletter is. Yeah, so let's talk about Antifa or Antifa.
Antifa. Or somebody has some weird pronunciation.
Actually, I have a kind of a backgrounder. Do you want a quick backgrounder clip?
Yes, please,
on
please.
Antifa? It's actually Jack Prosobiec, what's his name? Prosobiec, who's on Twitter a lot. I'm not sure exactly what he does. He's probably one of those Candace Owens outfits or something. And he was on the Steve Bannon War Room podcast. Boom, 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 boom. War Room, pandemic. And he explained, because he's done a lot of research on
He goes, yeah, War. Hi, I'm Steve. I'm Steve Bannon, and we're here in
yes,
we got the whole thing set up here so you can hear us.
No, you got to do like June 6th and Year of Our Lord, really 2020.
I want my capsule.
All right, enough freaking Dvorak. So he was on that show. Didn't sound as bad as we just made it sound. But he has a lot of, he's done a lot of study on Antifa, which of course goes back a long time.
Antifa was originally constituted in Germany in the 1930s. They were an arm of the communists from the Bolsheviks, really, from Russia, that were sent over. The NKVD was involved in setting them up, as well as the German Communist Party. Their role was to destabilize the Weimar Republic. That was the entire point of Antifa. They are a destabilization force. And then we saw a resurgence of Antifa in the early 90s, the late 90s, the Battle of Seattle. We then saw another, then through the Occupy movement, which of course was an international movement in both Europe and the United States, Canada and the United States. We see Antifa in Canada now. We see Antifa. You and I have come up against Antifa in London, and now we've seen just a massive resurgence in this movement. We've even seen, and I've done a lot of reporting on this and documentation of Antifa traveling to Syria to fight with a internationally designated terror group, the PKK, and receive training from them. They were sort of attempting to recreate the Spanish Civil War in northwestern Syria.
What's odd is that there's not a single politician except for Donald Trump, and of course that's probably why, that actually recognizes this danger that I can tell of Antifa, that it's organized. It's not just a couple of LARPers. I mean, there is actual organization.
Adam, it's not organized. It's an idea.
Oh, it's just a concept.
It's a peace movement.
Oh, I see.
It's an idea. There's nobody behind this designing all those logos.
Oh, you mean the ones that date back to the 30s? No.
Well, that was stolen, from the idea might be, who knows, it might be a COINTELPRO operation that is designed to create the same situation that happened in Germany with the rise of Hitler.
Well, I'm sure that Prosebic didn't say that without reason. And that's very possible. But just, if you look, the thing is, look at the data. Look at the actual numbers of who's getting killed by who, and look at it by color. It's out there. You'll see that first of all, we've done much better over the past 10 years. Yay, America. But the the extent of white cops killing black people is much lower than any other statistic. And I don't care how many people say, yeah, but they're not representative of the. No, this is about poor people.
That's been covered by a number of people.
But you can't talk any sense into any of these people. You can't.
No. Well, we knew.
And
not new.
It gets worse. I mean, now we're at this point where if we already had this happening, but now we went from, if you don't say anything, you're complicit. You remember that eventually brought Taylor Swift out to say something about how much she hates Trump. But now the slogan is silence is violence. I mean, that's some newspeak right there. Silence is violence. Holy crap.
From what I can tell, I did. There's a movie I linked to in the newsletter. That's the news, which is the RAM movie. It's the revolutionary abolitionist movement.
Yeah,
which is
yes.
Which considers themselves the radical arm of Antifa, with allies in Black Lives Matter. And it seems to all stem from another group, which is the International Revolutionary People's Guerrilla Forces, which is an international operation, which I can assure you is behind those demonstrations.
Yes,
at some level in Holland.
Oh, they have to be. And absolutely. But you can see them. You see them. It's the same uniform. It's always the same. And there's one other interesting aspect. Did you notice that pretty much everybody had a mask on?
You have to wear a mask, man, 6 feet apart, social distancing.
Well, yeah. So obviously,
they've always worn masks. So Antifa's always worn masks.
Thank you. And now every one of these so-called protesters, all these Fortnite kiddies, which I think is a lot more like Fortnite than it was, traditional LARPing. They all had their COVID masks on. And I was reading a very interesting article about masks. And the article, first it compares it to how people are and how they respond to other people when they're inside their car. And the example, of course, was road rage, where you yell at people, you shake your fist, because, you're kind of protected, even though you're not really, but you've got some glass around you. So when you wear a mask, much like criminals do, yes, it's often not, so you're not identified, but here's what a mask does for you. So besides it making it harder for you to be identified, and this is from, like the Psychology 101 masks. Number 2. Conceals your emotions and reduces the amount of eye contact you make, lets you think and feel like a different person. And masks, that's what masks are for. People put on all kinds of masks. And sometimes not a tangible mask like alcohol. It's also a mask. You mask yourself. It also helps you avoid guilt, shame, and embarrassment. Hello, white guilt, white fragility. And brings to the surface parts of your personality you might otherwise hide. Think eyes wide shut, etc. And in groups, masks can be dehumanizing, leading to groupthink and extreme behavior. That is the fact about masks. And if you have that in this kind of situation, I think people got much bolder. I think it really made a difference. And they could also hide their guilt behind their mask.
Well, the point you made, self-loathing white liberals, the term. The point you made about the politicians, especially the Democrats, not wanting to confront the Antifa situation, which is a serious threat.
Mm-hmm.
And they do a good job. I mean, I have to say, I give them kudos. What a unbelievable job they're doing.
Slow clap. Well done. Well,
and
these are old playbooks. We just don't. We're not. They don't. Right.
They're old playbooks that the left knows about. They can't bring themselves to admit it because no, we don't want to go there. But let me play a series of clips, starting with one of the guys who got beat up by these guys one time and had brain damage. Actually, he's back in the saddle doing yeoman's work. Is Andy Go, NGO, he's on Twitter, and he was talking about Antifa on that hill, The Rising, which is a show I like a lot with this guy Sargar and Crystal Ball.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And and they're both excellent on the show. And here's Andy Go. Andy Go.
I think it's no. I think you pronounce
NGO. No.
Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it.
It could be. We need clarification on this, or I do apparently.
Yeah.
But let's listen to him talking about Antifa in 2017.
I would say in 2016 and through part of 2017, they were viewed as kind of like folk heroes to the city with the established politicians here because they believe what the media said. They referred to them as anti-fascists, and that's where the deception is really strong. I would say that
the local elected spoken out in favor of Antifa.
Not anymore now because they're seeing the bill that the city has to pay when these people come out and wreak havoc in downtown Portland. So I've seen them kind of distance themselves a bit more. But they don't want to come out too strong against the far left because there's a large constituency on the left who, although they will not participate in the tactics of Antifa or other similar movements, they share similar goals and sympathies. So it's a difficult position for our Democratic politicians here to be in. I would like them to have more clarity in their leadership and to come out against violence, against this type of anarchy, and not view it through a partisan lens as they are currently.
Yeah.
So the current thing that's happening is Trump deciding that, well, these guys are domestic terrorists and they should be put on a terrorist watch list and treated as a terrorist organization.
Now,
and so
just the legality of that, there's no term, but I think if he classified them as enemy combatants, then
no, there's tons of discussion about this, and there are ways of doing it. Okay. And enemy combatants is not the same because that would really complicate matters. They just want to get him on this list. And as we go along with these 4 more clips, you can see the contrast.
Well, hold on. So that's exactly, now I understand. Now it makes sense. He wants them on the terrorist. He wants them classified as a terrorist organization. That's why certainly Democrat politicians are saying, there's no organization. There's no thing you can put on the list. This will be used just to pick up people left and right. That's what's happening because they're just denying that it's a true organization.
Exactly. And let's play a few examples. These are 3 examples of them doing just that from different sources. Here's the BBC. This is the clip is the Odd Pro Antifa BBC.
Well, Donald Trump has said that he wants to Antifa, the group, he said in a tweet that he wants to denounce them as a terrorist organization. Now, the problem with that is twofold. First of all, it's not clear if he can designate a domestic group a terrorist organization. That was more tear gas coming off, by the way. The second thing is that Antifa really isn't a solid organization with a hierarchy. It's more of a collective group. It stands for anti-fascism, and it's basically this loose collective group of people who come together to oppose on the street what they call fascist activity. But this has been the position of the government, of Donald Trump's administration. He's trying, in a way, almost delegitimizing these protests to say, well, there's another thing that's just been shot by the police to try and disperse the crowd. It's this attitude of the government saying that far radical leftists are organizing this, or Antifa is organizing it. And this kind of way of stealing from the protests the legitimate anger so many people here feel for what they call a long history of abuse by the police against minorities in this country.
And it's so not true. I mean, cops, they're afraid. They're afraid to do all kinds of things now with anyone who is not pristine, crystal clear white. This is simply not true what they're saying. The data just doesn't support it. And everyone just does. Oh, no. You don't know what you're talking about. Shut up. It's bizarre. Go ahead.
It's beyond. It's obviously this is concerted. The media is in cahoots with these.
You want to hear?
Well, let me get these clips out of the way. Then
All right. I don't want to.
This is the pro-Antifa. Now, this is a guy from the Associated Press that is discussing this important issue.
Hold on.
It's pro-Antifa. Associated Press.
Yeah, I got it. Upper lowercase. Here we go.
Chris, there are questions that remain as to how I can do this, in part, though there are other domestic groups that have been classified as terrorist groups. Antifa, by definition, isn't really a group. So it's not quite sure what will come of this in the days ahead. We haven't seen any paperwork yet from the White House. I think that'll be something perhaps that comes across tomorrow. But I wanted to just draw the contrast there with former Vice President Biden. The president, of course, we have not seen today. The White House called an early lid, which means he had no public events, no public statements, but he has been tweeting, and it has not been a message of trying to heal or a message of understanding or trying a message of the nation to rally together after a very trying few days, but rather leaning into political scores, blaming Democratic mayors and governors, and even at one point retweeting a posting from the conspiracy group Q, as he has been, again, putting out a message of strength in law and order rather than reconciliation.
That guy's from the Associated Press?
Yeah.
The conspiracy group. So Antifa, not a terrorist organization. Q, conspiracy group. Meetings every Tuesday night at the old schoolhouse.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go take it a step further. This is an editor from the Wall Street Journal that is now giving us his opinion about the whole thing. And you can tell he's super objective. And by the way, he's on Fox with this particular bullshit.
Well, I think you're seeing a lot of politics being played at this point with scant evidence to support it. The president is blaming somebody else for this problem. He's blaming the left, which is a popular target of the president. He's provided no evidence of that. Mind you, though, politics are being played on the other side as well. The Democratic governor of Minnesota is blaming the right, saying that white separatists are in the groups, they are fomenting violence. He, too, has not provided any evidence of that, though there seems to be some kind of indication that, yes, right-wing groups have played a role.
What? Wow. Who are these jabronis?
This is a guy that's a Wall Street Journal editor on Fox.
Editor. He determines what goes through. Wow.
So the only person that actually comes up with they bring her on because she's doing some work for them. And I hate to play this, but I have to say she nails this. Laura Logan, comes on Fox and she explains what the hell's going on with Antifa, the whole idea of naming them as a terrorist organization, and comes off with a very logical. She was also, by the way, like Andy, was a victimized by Antifa at some point in her career, attacked or something like that. I don't know the details. They discussed it. I kind of missed it.
And I have no problem. I like Laura Logan.
No, she's good.
But she's really good.
She's going to say right
a lot,
a few more times than you're going to enjoy.
Well, there's that downside.
Now this is her on. I have two clips from her, but this is the one on Antifa.
Okay. Yeah.
The president had suggested that he would essentially designate them a terror group. But legal experts are saying that's kind of hard because there is no central leadership. It's more of a movement. Each town might have 5 people or 10 people. It's just kind of scattered, they say.
It is scattered, and that's by design because it's a massive network that spreads, all across the U.S. and across the world, actually. It's a global movement, and that's not my words. That's their words, right? And, of course, legal experts, all these people want you to believe that you can't designate them. Why? Because it brings with it very significant authority. So, for example, all those people contributing bail money now to members of Antifa and other anarchist groups, if they're terrorist organizations, then they're contributing to terrorist groups, and that's illegal. So the money will dry up. Certainly, sources of funding will dry up. Why do they move across state lines to go and commit crimes? Well, they do it because then they get in their cars or get on the planes and they go back to where they came from and you can't get them. Well, you can if they're designated as terrorists. So this is a very significant designation, and it shuts down many of their authorities. And when you hear people coming at you about that, whether they know it or not, they're just contributing to the propaganda. And Steve, I can tell you the propaganda is in overdrive right now on the Antifa websites and through their network of people on different social media forums, and even in the New York Times today, quite astonishing. They're literally collecting data and dismissing all of this. What you're seeing in front of your eyes, they're saying is a conspiracy theory. I mean, they've used conspiracy theory. That's an information warfare term that's meant to shut down any conversation and to silence and to intimidate and to get us to self-censor because we don't want to be accused of being crazy right-wing conspiracy theorists.
I didn't hear her say the word right in any other fashion than right-wing.
No, she said it. You just didn't. She slipped it in. I guess it got past you.
I guess so.
I know, you can hear it right at the beginning. She said it in the first sentence, I think.
All right. Well, that's.
But it's beside the point. This is a great point, and she makes the point, which I just proved, is that all the media, beginning with the paper of record, the New York Times, are saying no. These guys they're scattered. This is bullcrap. It's just it's just a way of thinking, and it's really pathetic. I mean, it's really pathetic. Listen to her second clip, which is her talking about the radical abolitionist movement, which is part of this. And she just decides to go after them for a little bit and reads from some of their documents. And you can go to their websites, and they're not for all practical purposes. They are literally calling for the dissolution and destruction of the United States, its government and its institutions, all businesses and all private property.
And it starts with defunding the police. I mean, that's the meme.
Abolish the police as a sign. You'll see this sign at these riots.
Defund.
Abolish the police.
Right, but I think they've settled on defund, and and I see smart people saying this. Are you kidding me?
It's pretty astonishing what a great job they've done, but it begins. There's two sources of this. One's the educational system with corrupt professors.
Yep.
And the other part is the media, with the New York Times being the leader.
Completely
and they've
corrupt.
been completely taken over by these folks who are all radicals. And so let's listen to Laura read from the documents.
Have a look at the revolutionary abolitionist movement. What do they want to do here? Liberation is by any means necessary. They're going to destroy the state, police, military, corporations, all who run what they call the American plantation. They'll live in a dignity in a world without prisons. Systems of punishment will be abolished. There'll be no law and no money to protect. So property, they say, is alive. It doesn't belong to anyone. Except they won't really be equal, right? There will be a system, because go down to number 10, militant networks will defend our revolutionary communities. Liberation begins where America dies. So that is what this is about. Liberation begins where America dies. Right now, the white people, you at Fox News, you're the oppressors, right? And this is all about justice for black people and underprivileged communities and the poor. But a few steps down, anyone who owns land is the oppressed. And a few more steps down, anyone with a successful business. And a few more steps down is, do you have a bigger property or resources than I do? And every step along the way, we all become the oppressors. And what they want when they say abolish the police and the army and everything, they want to get rid of all black policemen, black soldiers. It's not just about race. They want us to believe we're divided. They want it to be about Republican, Democrat, but it's not. And every single thing you're seeing is to incite a response, to incite white people, for example, to take up their guns and say, I'm going to defend my homes, and to incite the police to act, to incite the National Guard soldier to pull the trigger and give them exactly what they want.
Yeah, she's not wrong about that. The problem is, and you're correct, is that the media, which is so all encompassing and blanketing in this period of time, when they're in cahoots and when they're complicit, I see smart people who literally are doing insane things, and logically they could know this. I mean, even to say abolish the police, But you might need them one day. And then what are you going to do? And, what you're not seeing is I saw a lot of black business owners protecting their businesses with armed men, black men with guns. Didn't see that. Really, anyway, I can just go on about the amazement, but there's more pushback. And, of course, we need to ultimately all bring this around towards President Trump. Because everyone who has an agenda is manipulating this right away. And politics is what's going on right now in the United States, but not uniquely so. I mean, there's big discussions going on in the Netherlands, as I know, right now about race relations, and remember
about Trump too.
Of course, Trump is the source.
Why does the Netherlands care about Trump?
Because they are being told to care about it, and that he is the devil of the world and bringing everything down. And look at what he's done. Even though it was Obama who weaponized the police force, but okay. He's weaponized the police. They're killing black people. It's horrible. No one is going to do any research. There's not a single pushback, except for some of the souls who have found, a podcast or two.
How many people do you think in Holland, and I'm just using Holland because you're closer to that than Auckland, New Zealand, why are they protesting? The socialists is why. But let me ask you this question. How many people, just an average Dutchman, know where Minnesota is?
That would be higher than you'd think, but I would say not more than 10%.
Okay, well, that's a high number. I don't think 10% of the United States know where it is.
The Netherlands actually has a lot of business with Minnesota, and we have direct KLM flights. So there is a...
Okay, Minnesota, okay.
Minnesota's not a good one.
I could ask, I wish you were a New Zealander now so I could ask you if you were...
But I understand.
Anyone in New Zealand knows where Minnesota is.
But see, that's not what happened here. What took place is people have been inside. They've been locked down. They've been frustrated. They want to go out. They want to get back to normal life. In the Netherlands, their local issue is the Black Peets. Remember? Black Peets. Oh, it's so racist. Been going on for hundreds of years. But now all of a sudden it's racist. And it's those people, those activists, those groups, which are NGOs, they're nonprofits, they start this. And then everyone's like, oh, hell yeah, let's get out. I mean, and everyone wants to feel good. We also all want to be together and have an experience, not violent, but have an experience of, man, we're upset. What are we really upset about? I don't know, Trump killing black people in America. It doesn't matter. The conditions were perfect for this.
Oh, yeah. It was almost like it was set up. It's almost set up. Now, can I ask a question just on a side?
Yeah.
How come the media, again, the same people, that every time Trump walks out without a mask, he wasn't wearing a mask. Pence wasn't wearing a mask. But what are they talking about now with the lack of social? If these rioters were social distancing and they are wearing masks, but not all of them. But they're not social distancing. They're all going to catch COVID, apparently. What if they don't?
Well, since you bring that up, we have it here. I have brought some extra clips. Here we go. Because this is now starting to come up. And hey, why can't I find this? What's going on? Oh crap!
Well, while you're doing that,
I had a mask clip. I don't know what happened to it.
I have a semi super clip that is comparing. This is Cuomo. I have to set it up. These all need to be set up.
Okay.
Cuomo versus DeSantis. This is the media discussing what a great guy Cuomo is and what a shithead DeSantis is. He's the governor of Florida who did not lock down the state and eventually open the beaches and all these things. And he's the threat to the old people. And Cuomo is the savior, even though Cuomo's killed at least 10,000 old people because of his thing with moving the victims of Corona into the nursing
homes, yeah,
and killing them all. Ended up killing 10,000 people, they estimate. But the media, this is of course led by your usual suspects of MSNBC and CNN.
Yeah.
They have a different take on this, and this is a good supercut.
I mean, Andrew Cuomo has been glorified by media despite policies with respect to nursing homes that caused to a number of tragic deaths, whereas Ron DeSantis has instituted pretty successful policy if you look at their numbers. So what's going on here?
Ron DeSantis is not doing what he needed to do 2 weeks ago to protect Florida's seniors.
It's been a remarkable show of leadership by Governor Cuomo in recent days. He's providing hope.
And Governor Ron DeSantis is finally, maybe too little too late, issuing a stay-at-home order.
Cuomo has become a kind of acting president.
Governor DeSantis should have absolutely acted a lot quicker, not only for the retired people.
Cuomo, everything Trump isn't, honest, direct, brave.
In the case of Governor DeSantis of Florida, he's going exactly the opposite way from what the experts, the people on the front lines, indicate ought to be done.
Governor Cuomo has become a national leader and not just the leader of New York. No stay-at-home order from Governor Ron DeSantis. Why bother, right? I'm sure Florida will be fine.
He is conveying incredible strength in the face of this pandemic.
Act like you give a damn.
I've seen you referred to a little bit recently as the love gov, and I'm wondering if that's bleeding into your demeanor at all.
Yeah, that's politics, though. But it works because, Uncle Don, Governor Cuomo is our shining light. He's our shining light. I found my clip.
Good.
So, as you were saying just before the supercut, no one can go out. You got to wear a mask, social distance, keep your restaurants shut. You can't go anywhere. Shut up, slave. Be quiet. Now, NBC Nightly News, not just a cable station.
Massive crowds swarming cities across the country are choosing social justice over social distancing.
I could be dead tomorrow if I walk on the streets
But an urgent health warning from officials.
There's no question there's a danger this could intensify the spread of the coronavirus just at a point when we were starting to beat it back profoundly.
How many super spreaders were in that crowd? How many young people went home and kissed their mother hello or shook hands with their father?
But these demonstrators see an America infected with injustice, too.
Did I not tell you? Ever since Van Jones said it, I said, look out, racism is a virus.
Are you worried about your safety? Yes, but the answer is that I'm worried about my safety to both of those viruses.
Late today, the first comprehensive study on stopping the virus found physical distancing, 3 feet or more, is most important, even more than wearing a mask. And with tear gas flying, the risks even greater.
Tear gas makes people cough, sneeze, their eyes water, and when that happens, the respiratory droplets that carry the virus can travel further, meaning they can infect a lot more people.
Public health and prosperity now jeopardized. This restaurant owner's reopening was put on hold.
I worked for 2 months every day to reposition ourselves for this to happen. It's disturbing.
In South Florida, businesses were expecting to see Miami Beach reopen today. That's now been postponed because of the protests, as officials everywhere wait to see if cases of the virus surge in the next 2 weeks.
I mean, there were people who I know personally who went out, who were afraid to come out of their house, really almost didn't socialize with anybody anywhere because of coronavirus. But yet there they were, packed, protesting. And these are the people, they have a virus of the mind.
What's wrong with them?
And it, just as a kind of a side note, but not unimportant, I went to the all-seeing eye, the true source of all information, if you want to know from the globalist media pharma side. If you want to know how to wear a mask and when to wear a mask, I went to the WHO, the World Health Organization website. And there's a video. There's a video and it's brand new, and it's related to COVID-19. So this is not anything that is old. This predates. This is brand new. Have a listen to their actual recommendations.
If you do not have any respiratory symptoms such as fever, cough, or runny nose, you do not need to wear a medical mask like this one. Mask alone can give you a false feeling of protection and can even be a source of infection when not used correctly. Masks should only be used by healthcare workers, caretakers, or by people who are sick with symptoms of fever and cough. Why? Because healthcare workers and caretakers are in close contact with ill individuals, so they're at higher risk of catching COVID-19. Why? So, for healthcare workers, caretakers, or individuals who have fever and cough, this is how you should wear a mask. Before touching the mask, clean your hands with alcohol-based hand rub or soap and water. Inspect the mask for tears or holes, verifying which side is the top. This is where the metal piece is. Then identify the inside of the mask, which is usually the white side. Then fit the mask on your face. Pinch the metal strip or stiff edge so it holds to the shape of your nose. Adjust the mask over your face, covering your mouth and chin, making sure there are no gaps between your face and the mask. Do not touch the front of the mask while using it to avoid contamination. If you accidentally touch it, clean your hands. To take off the mask, remove the elastics from behind without touching the front and keep it away from your face. Discard the mask immediately in a closed bin and clean your hands. It is important not to reuse a mask. Replace it with a new one as soon as it gets damp. And remember, the best way to protect yourself from the new coronavirus is frequently cleaning your hands with alcohol-based hand rub or soap and water. Stay safe and see you next time.
So I don't mind if the government or whoever is going to try and coerce you, shame you, or perhaps force you into wearing a mask, but they should at least be giving the proper information. And what you hear, and which I'm sure I've not heard from anyone, also not the Surgeon General, is one-time use only. Yeah. Throw it out after you've used it. I see politicians stuffing them inside their pocket, pulling them back with their hands all over it. It's bullshit!
It's not about the mask.
I know.
It's about control and bullshit.
That was my point.
That last clip you played, not that one, but the one before, that guy said 3 feet, not 6 feet. You noticed that, right?
Yes, of course. It's bullcrap.
When did it come to become 3 feet?
Listen, we need to have. Well, remember, it's 1.5 meters in Europe, which is 5 feet. It was 6 feet here. Who knows? It
became 3 feet, and you don't need a mask, he said, that guy.
I know. Well, I expect a lot of people to be dying in about 2 weeks from now after the super spreader events around the world. I'm looking at you, Amsterdam. I'm looking at you, Rotterdam. I'm looking at you, New York, Minneapolis, Los Angeles. Dead people, bodies on the streets. It has to be. Otherwise, goodbye with your phony baloney coronavirus. Goodbye.
Yeah, it has to be a huge surge. This is massive.
Yeah.
And in certain cities,
Austin, we need a surge here in Austin. And all these chicken shit governors and mayors hiding in their homes. Unbelievable. But wait. This is really about Donald Trump. Yes, this is really Donald Trump's old buddies coming back to help him.
I can't tell you how many people have been in touch with me today and tonight and last night to say some form of the following, which we would have laughed at 5 years ago. The Russians must be having a good old time looking at television images of the United States. Death toll of 100,000. A pandemic not at all under control, and now city streets aflame in more cities tonight than we can list.
Yeah, I've lost count of the number of times you and I, Brian, have talked about this very concept that the number one goal of the Russian government is not to get a certain person in the White House, but rather to sow discord and chaos. Now, it helps if the person in the White House is unable to calm the nerves of the nation, is unable to get peace and calm restored in our cities through his behavior, through trust, through his relationships and his statements. So, yes, our adversaries are studying this right now. Some of them are actually pleased that we are more divided than ever. And I'm very troubled that we could be in for a very long, hot summer if this isn't quashed.
Yes, because, the Russians, they love doing this, and that's how Donald Trump got elected. And Susan Rice agrees.
Who have come to try to hijack those protests and turn them into something very different. And they are probably also, I would bet, based on my experience, I'm not reading the intelligence today or these days, but based on my experience, this is right out of the Russian playbook as well. But we can't allow the extremists, the foreign actors, to distract from the real problems we have in this country that are long-standing, centuries old, and need to be addressed responsibly by new leadership.
New
You're
leadership.
absolutely right on the foreign
Our leadership's no good. We got to fix it.
Interference, because we know for decades the Russians, when it was the Soviet Union, the communists, they've often tried to embarrass the United States by promoting the racial divide in our country. But what you're suggesting, Ambassador, is that they're still trying to do that? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, we see it all the time. We've seen it for years and frankly every day on social media, where they take any divisive, painful issue, whether it's immigration, whether it's gay rights, whether it's gun violence, and always racism, and they play on both sides. Their aim is not simply to embarrass the United States, Wolf. Their aim is to divide us, to cause us to come into combat with each other, to disintegrate from within. And I would not be surprised to learn that they have fomented some of these extremists on both sides using social media. I wouldn't be surprised to learn that they're funding it in some way, shape, or form. And that's something that we need to take seriously, but we cannot.
So it's not the media. It's not politicians. It's it's the Russians who have convinced people to do this through Twitter and social media. Susan Rice, you should be ashamed of yourself, woman.
To distract us from the real problem that is an American problem that we alone can address. And we need leadership desperately, Wolf, that doesn't demonize peaceful protesters, from Colin Kaepernick to those who have tried peacefully to protest in recent days.
Yeah, this thing was so well constructed that we have a link being made and enforced and enhanced between Colin Kaepernick kneeling and Nike and the Chauvin, which, by the way, is a abbreviation for chauvinist, which means pig. And if you look at
very cute, that's very good. Before you continue with this line of thinking, I do have to mention something, which is that Susan Rice is not on my essay, but she is running for vice president.
Yes, no, I know she is, and that's why Kamala Harris also brought up the Russian meme.
She's out of control.
Okay, so I think if you're talking Russia, you may not be in consideration. Definition of chauvinism, and I'm at this point, I'm not taking anything for granted. Showing or relating to excessive or prejudiced loyalty or support for a particular group or cause specifically related to race. I did not realize that the etymology of that word.
I always thought it was mostly related to sex. Like that was male
changed.
Chauvinist pig. Chauvinist pig.
That was changed in the 60s. In the 60s, it went from being about race to about sex. And I think the women's liberation hijacked the word then. I didn't know that either, but I looked it up as someone mentioned that too. So now I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
You were going on with you're not going to take anything for granted, and this guy's name's Chauvin, and then you gave us a definition.
Okay. No, it's about the kneeling. So we have this fantastic, comparison between people kneeling, certainly sports figures, which, by the way, British football leagues are now kneeling before the game to combat white American cops killing black Americans. That is happening in the UK.
Thanks, Brits.
That's how bad we are. We must be the scum of the earth, obviously. We're scum of the earth.
Yeah, and who's promoting that, of course?
So, and all of this was so well constructed and used and propagated. It is one for the history books, right down to the Soros money elected Chicago mayor. Make no mistake, and it's all open records. Soros Open Society Foundation gave a lot of money to her campaign, to district attorneys around the country, and it's all. Kamala Harris is another one. They're all in the same group. Same. You know what? I'll play her, and then I'll play a little Soros thing so you understand where this is coming from. This is Lori Lightfoot, Mayor of Chicago.
Destruction. Today came condemnation from Mayor Lori Lightfoot. But first, recognition of those who came to protest the killing of George Floyd in the rightful way.
Make no mistake, there is a lot of righteous anger and grief boiling here and across the country. And that isn't just about George Floyd, although that was the catalyst for this expression. It's also about Laquan McDonald and Quintonia LaGreer and others before and since. It's about so many members of our community who have lost unjustly over the generations. And it's about a system that demands change, and we must recommit ourselves in this moment to fundamentally changing the things that have plagued us for way too long, including our original sin of racism.
Her tone.
So this is the same mayor of Chicago who will not recognize that if this is true, then Jussie Smollett had a hand in it, because we had people crying, newscasters crying on television, MSNBC, I can't believe it, he was lit to put a rope around his neck, crying in your city, Lightfoot. A black man faked a racial attack. Shut up. And of course, if you say George Soros, immediately I'll just call them all
conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, you're a conspiracy theorist, anti-Semite, you hate Jews. But let's just go back to the 80s when Hillary Clinton brought George Soros into the scene, into the Democrat Party with all his money and activism. This is where it started. They're all in it.
It is not enough for America's future that some participate and others don't. We have been given an extraordinary blessing, and at this moment in time, our country needs us. And we need people like George Soros, who is fearless and willing to step up when it counts. So please join me in welcoming George Soros.
It is the first time that I feel that I need to stand up and do something really and become really engaged in the electoral process in this country.
Oh, yes. He's done it in many countries. Ask around. He's banned. He's banned in Hungary. They don't want him. Get out.
His home country.
So we go from that moment, which is late 80s, to a George Soros affiliated money collection and troublemaker organization, Unicorn Riot. Unicorn Riot is one of the organizations who are a part of this bailing out the protesters. They're basically an Antifa media arm. So we go from George Soros, what was that now, 30 years ago? About 30 years ago, we go to this.
It's real bogus. They got to get it right. I mean, otherwise, this was going to happen. And ain't nothing left here. So when we start coming to the suburbs, when we come to the government center, then what y'all going to do? You see what I'm saying? So, hey, that's just what's going to happen, you know? Hey, fuck the police. It's your boy Kunta Kinte.
You know, you could not make it any more despicable. And we're coming to the suburbs. I got to tell you, man. I had a lot of people contacting me. Got an extra gun? I said, no, you lefty nut job there in Terrytown, Westlake. You should have thought of that before.
Gun sales are skyrocketing.
Oh, yeah, it's insane.
As usual.
There is, so, and I don't want to go too deep on this because it's not the time and it really doesn't matter that much. But the way this was positioned, we did not get a backstory on what happened here. It's the same old playbook. In comes the new Al Sharpton, which is Crump. Benjamin Crump is right up there with Sharpton, with Jesse Jackson. He's the new guy on the scene in the scam. So he's going to make sure someone gets paid somewhere and is going to leverage this for his own business. Going to go on and on and on and on. We really don't know exactly what happened. We're missing a lot of video. There's conflicting reports from the coroner. And so when I hear Jesse Waters on Fox doing this, I think he's part of the disinformation because he's now fueling a bunch of stuff that is really does not matter.
In my opinion, from what we know, they worked at the same club together, a nightclub which had a lot of suspicious activity. People should be looking into the nightclub. Was it a front for something? Was there any sort of trafficking going on? They worked closely together on a regular basis. Also, Floyd rumored to have moonlit in another industry, which is kind of provocative. There could be a lot of reasons that their relationship became controversial. Let's just put it that way. And maybe Floyd knew something he wasn't supposed to know. Maybe there was an operation that we're not aware of that's soon going to be investigated. Because if you have a guy kneeing a guy in the neck like that over a counterfeit 20, and you have the rest of the crew standing around and watching, it looks like a premeditated hit.
Okay, so this, I think, is stupid that he's doing this. Now he's where actual work needs to be done. And I didn't have the heart even to bring it up to Mo, because I said, when you see what this, how does that hit you? And he says, to me, it's like a big game hunter, like one of those pictures where he's sitting on his prey. The one that the big elephant or the tiger or whatever he just killed. And so that was the image. That's the image that was presented to us. The backstory was there right away. So he didn't die from strangulation to the neck. And I'm not going to get any deeper into it because that's probably part of the reason why someone hates me and is doing shit to my email. But
if you never brought it up, how would they know this?
Well, because I did talk about specifically on this show, excited delirium. If you look at the video and you turn the sound on, one of the cops says, shit, is this excited delirium? And go look that up and go talk to some EMS, go talk to some cops, and then come back and tell me if we saw what happened in the missing minutes, we might have a different story. Doesn't matter. There's a dead black man and a really shitty, guilty-looking white man, and the feelings that people have about that are real, whether that happened or not. But I'm just saying that's a part of how something I believe was manipulated to kick this off. And for the first time, I feel like we're not necessarily on the upper hand in the situation. When I saw all those white kids going out destroying their own neighborhoods as well, they're looting the high-end stores that they go to in their neighborhoods. That has to be the ultimate white guilt action. Like, I'm so guilty. I've been told I'm such a horrible person. I need to destroy my own shit to bring it down to the level. It's crazy.
This different? Yeah, I agree. But how is it different? Because it's not. How is it different from those little girls we kept seeing week after week? Oh, the world's gonna end and no one's doing anything about it. We're all gonna die of climate change.
Yeah, that seems to be temporarily wrecked.
Well, that can come back real fast. It's obvious that there's a manipulation going on that is being controlled by somebody, and it sure isn't the two of us.
We're trying to shrink amygdalas left and right. But I'll tell you, and I say that a lot. I'm going to try and cut back on the I tell you crap. So yes, agendas, but if you see this, and this is Don Lemon on CNN, who is now, he's the guest on his own news channel because, he's the black guy with the right message. And
that is unbelievable.
It's not even his own show. And here's the stuff he's saying.
For this very moment that just happened in front of our eyes, why were we pretending otherwise? Open your eyes, America. Open your eyes. We are teetering on a dictatorship. This is chaos. Has the president, I'm listening, is the president declaring war on Americans? What is happening here? He's saying he wants to protect peaceful protesters at the same time, sending law enforcement and military into the streets to push peaceful protesters back, to be aggressive with peaceful protesters. He is doing the exact opposite of what he said.
This is a lie. He's lying from beginning to end. He's lying the whole way through. He's saying it's a dictatorship. What are you talking about? If it was a dictatorship, we'd have people getting killed, getting shot right in the street.
Their bodies would be stacking up faster than COVID.
Peaceful protesters back. To be aggressive with peaceful protesters.
So they're saying that the president, the dictator, he's being aggressive with peaceful protesters, and that's why they're fighting back. That is an outright lie.
To be aggressive.
He doesn't control the police forces in these cities, you boob.
To push peaceful protesters back. To be aggressive with peaceful protesters. He is doing the exact opposite of what he said in that speech. I think the president is playing a very, very dangerous game here. There are a lot of Americans who are out on these streets who are upset, who are frustrated, who are angry. Again, I am not condoning violence at all, and I hope that they remain peaceful. But I hope that they stand up and fight for their rights to peacefully protest in this country. But he's playing a very dangerous game because this will backfire. People are upset and they're angry. These people, as I have been saying as well, they feel like they are occupied in their own communities by police departments, many of them militarized police departments. Now the entire country, according to his orders, we are living under a militarized country, or we will be soon, and it will play out in front of our very eyes on national television.
I mean, come on. And that's not
part of the problem.
Well,
Don Lemon is part of the problem.
He's definitely part of the problem. Go back to what Woodson said. He says it's elite, rich black people along with white people who just don't want the poor people. It's really about class. It's about poor people. It's not about color. It's long gone that it's been about African Americans, or as I like to say, American descendants of slavery. Long gone. A valiant effort, I might add, by Black entertainment television founder Robert Johnson, who I like his he's like, I got the answer. We can fix this. Reparations.
Now is the time to go big. Short answers to long, horrific questions about the stain of slavery are not going to solve the inequality problem. We need to focus on wealth creation and wealth generation. And to do that, we must bring the descendants of slaves into equality with this nation. And that's what I proposed in this $14 trillion proposal to provide reparations, not only for the sin or the atonement of the sin of slavery and Jim Crowism and desegregation, both de facto and de jure, but to cause America to live up to the concept and the notion that this nation was born on the idea of American exceptionalism. And if we take that big leap, I am convinced that the problems that we confront today can be solved, but it takes a big, bold action, and $14 trillion in reparation for damages visited upon the heirs of slaves is an appropriate statement.
So $14 trillion is a lot of money. And I think what he's doing is he is signaling to the Democrats, and that's why I said something, because this is stuff I talked about with Mo for episode after episode. The terms are tangible. So give us something tangible instead of the promises the Democrat Party has been giving out for decades, or reparations. And to say 14 trillion, I think 1 trillion would make a lot of people happy. But I have to appreciate him saying this is what it really would be. That's the real number. So he's trying to appease, I guess, through the Democrats, because who else would even consider that? But this next clip really... Oh, hold on a second. Why is this so short? Oh, here it is. These next couple of clips really show, I guess if they want to call it a virus, they can, the response from officials. Michigan, the sheriff, he joined in, and I think it was a really good move, but, well, listen.
We want to be with y'all for real. So I took my helmet off and laid the batons down. Yeah. I want to make this a parade, not a protest. Come on. Walk with us. Let's walk with us.
So then he walked with him, and then all these crowds, they're getting cops to kneel. They're getting police chiefs to kneel. I saw someone on the street in a YouTube video. I don't know if it's fake. It could be fake. a guy just randomly walking by and saying, "Oh, excuse me, I'm here on behalf of," he must be black. You don't see him. He's holding the phone. I'm here for Black Lives Matter, and it's really important that you kneel and apologize for all the systemic racism and white supremacy. Have you seen this video? It's like a 10-minute clip, and it's just person after person doing this, getting down on their knees and apologizing for their guilt and their.
Wow. Well, of course, those are selected because the way you would handle this if this happened, what would you do if somebody did this to you? What would you say?
I'd say, get the hell out of my face, you dipshit. That's what I'd say.
I'd say,
meet my friend Smith and Wesson.
Because I'm not so confrontational as you are. I would say, what? That guy down the street had me do this already. How many times do I have to do this?
And the answer that would come back is, you have to atone. Every day you have to do this.
They wouldn't know what to. They would not have heard that before. And it's like the beggars that are all over San Francisco. So, you only can give so you run out of money at some point.
So these local police stations, etc., protesters everywhere. So this is in Milwaukee, the police chief. There's a whole bunch of privileged white, brown, black, red, yellow kids, all mainly white, but a lot of colors but they're all privileged. They're privileged. You can tell by what they're wearing. You can see by how they're speaking, everything. They're privileged of all colors. And they are bitching at him because while they were airing their grievances, he looked at his phone. Oh no, he was disrespectful to the protesters. Looked at his phone.
What's your response to some of the people that thought you were being disrespectful by being on your phone and not being attentive to them?
Well, I was on my phone, and yes, that's true. I was following developments with a 5-year-old little girl sitting on her dad's lap who just got shot in the head by a drive-by shooting. And if some of the people here gave a good goddamn about the victimization of people in this community by crime, I take some of their invective more seriously. The greatest racial disparity in the city of Milwaukee is getting shot and killed. Hello. 80% of my homicide victims every year are African American. 80% of our aggravated assault victims are African American. 80% of our shooting victims who survived their shooting are African American. Now, they know all about the last 3 people that have been killed by the Milwaukee Police Department over the course of the last several years. There's not one of them can name one of the last 3 homicide victims we've had in this city. Now, there's room for everybody to participate in fixing this police department, and I'm not pretending we're without sin. But this community's at risk, all right. And it's not because men and women in blue risk their lives protecting it. It's at risk because we got large numbers of high-capacity, quality firearms in the hands of remorseless criminals who don't care who they shoot. Now, I'm leaving here to go to that scene. And I take it personally, okay? We're going up there, and there's a bunch of cops processing a scene of a dead kid. And they're the ones that are going to be out there patrolling and stopping suspects, and they have guns under the front seat. They're the ones that are going to take the risks of their lives to try to clean this thing up. All right? We're responsible for the things we get wrong, and we take action. We've arrested cops, we've fired cops, and so on. But the fact is that the people out here, some of them, who had the most to say, are absolutely MIA when it comes to the true threats facing this community, and it gets a little tiresome. And when you start getting yelled at for reading the updates of the kid that got shot, yeah, you take it personal, okay? Now, no offense, but I'm going up there now.
And so, this is the problem with these peaceful protesters. Let's just get beyond the looting and the rioting for a moment. When you are out protesting and you really have your heart in the right place, you are doing nothing. You are yelling at the wind, and that's what your rulers, your leaders want you to do. If you truly want to help poor people in America, let's change the welfare system so that you can have, it still goes back to no man about the house, where if you have 2 people working minimum wage or below, they actually make too much to live together in the same house and receive benefits, welfare benefits, which is part of the reason why we have a lack of family units, certainly in poor neighborhoods, black, white, brown, yellow, all of them. but historically, yes, a high
That's the
percentage of
systematic part, a systematic poverty system.
Yes, it's not white supremacy. It is systematic poverty. And the people who move up, your neighbors who move up into the so-called good neighborhoods, they despise them. That's what Karen's about. Karen is, although described as white, I think Karen is white or black. Karen could easily be someone, it could easily be Cory Booker. Privileged people who are sick of poor people. They're sick of
Cory Booker is a Karen. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, and they're sick of poor people and want nothing to do with them and see them as a scourge. And all they do is tell you, oh, it's about black people. It's about racism. No, if you want to do something, you run for office, run for city council, run for school board. I don't care. Do something. Get out there and make an actual contribution. Don't send your money to Act Blue to bail out Antifa a-holes, you stupid children. Do something good. Do something smart. Ugh.
You're preaching.
Yeah.
I have a Karen clip to break the ice.
I wanted to save my Karen stuff for later, but if you're going to do Karen...
Well, no, if you have more Karen stuff, because then we can do a whole bunch of Karen stuff together.
Hey, should we do Karen together?
I want to do Karen together. Now you're talking.
All right. Shall I start?
Yeah, by the way, I should mention a couple of things local. There was, and the protesters have a lot to do with this. They protest, they use up police resources, and so there's no cops around, and so there's these coordinated efforts to rob places. So it was either this morning, I don't know, or maybe it was it must have been last night. Yeah, it was last night. Every pot shop in the Bay Area was broken into in a coordinated effort and at the same time.
Gee.
And all the pot was stolen. All the shops in Oakland seem to be black owned. And so all these black owners are on the air this morning. Oh, this is my business. Nobody cares about the fact I own it.
I got a setup for your Karen clips. And this is from the NPR.
I only have a clip. I have one clip with a setup.
Well, I have a setup for the Karen meme. Tell me how you want to do it.
Well, I want to wait. I want to do it after the break.
We're going to do it after the break. Oh, okay.
I have something else for you. Since we're talking about. I don't want to change the subject.
No,
I do have an Ask Adam.
Oh well, now I wasn't expecting that. Hold on a second. I recently found 8,000 of these jingles. So let's see. We'll just grab one. Ask Adam.
Oh, God, that was the worst one. Now, I'm going to play this clip. The Sacramento Kings announcer, I know you don't know this, was fired. And the question, you're going to hear the report, and I'm going to ask you why he was fired after that you play the report of this guy. He's a white guy fired as the announcer for, there's... You and Mo Fax, by the way, should discuss the situation with Drew Brees.
Yes, I have read something about Drew Brees, and you're right, went right past it. And that's why there's two of us.
So breaking this afternoon, Grant Napier, the voice of the Sacramento Kings, is now out of a job. Bonneville Communications, which owns KHTK, announced the company has parted ways with Napier. He was placed on leave from Sports 1140 yesterday over a Twitter dispute with former Kings player DeMarcus Cousins about Black Lives Matter. Napier has since apologized and resigned from his position with the Kings. And the Kings just releasing this statement saying Grant Napier has resigned from the Sacramento Kings. We thank him for his contributions to the team and wish him all the best. And Grant Napier then saying, I want to thank the fans for their overwhelming love and support. I will always remain a part of Kings and Nation in my heart.
When John C. Dvorak's got a burning question, what should we do? Ask Adam.
All right, I'm here. The doctor is in.
So the question is, what did he do that got him fired from the Kings as an announcer?
What did he do that got him fired? Now, of course, I absolutely...
It had to do with Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so offensive that it got him fired.
He made a comment about taking a knee. Or no, wait. No, it would be okay, I know what it is. Instead of saying Black Lives Matter, he said all lives matter.
You looked it up.
I did not look it up.
Okay.
I did not.
He tweeted, "All lives matter."
No, we're sorry. That is wrong. You do not pass go. No, you are wrong.
You're out, dude.
Yeah. You are out of here. Wow. So we got fired over that?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Well, it's because one of their core players, DeMarcus Cousins, who used to play locally, made a fuss.
Unbelievable. But there we are. That's the situation we're in. And that kind of shaming is exactly what perpetuates the situation. People are afraid for their livelihoods, afraid for, I mean, even just look
I can't imagine where the two of us would be.
We'd probably be out there protesting as poor people.
Yeah,
very poor people.
Have to be protesting.
And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, the man who put the C in confirm your subscription, John C. Dvorak.
In the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. Also in the morning to all feet on the ground, subs in the water, the dames and the knights, and the ships, everybody.
Okay. You used to have the whole thing memorized. You were very good at it.
My memories. B12. I ran out.
Well, you ran out last show.
Here's the problem with B12. You know, you take the theory that we have here on the show, if anyone's not familiar with it, you forget one little thing, you take two B12.
Right.
And then you have to be careful that you forget to take the B12. You get to the point where you don't remember that you're supposed to take B12. You can't remember anything. And then you get to the point where you didn't take B12 so long, you forgot to reorder it, and you keep forgetting to reorder it. So I have no B12, and it's just getting worse by the day.
Okay, well, this is a bad situation, and we need instant rectification. So I will ensure that is sent to you post-haste.
It has to be methyl.
In the morning to our producers who are in the troll room. That's why they are called trolls. Over almost 1,600 of them. Good to have you here, trolls. And this is noagendastream.com, where you can listen live to many shows that we have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But also podcasts that run on a regular schedule. It is a great community. It's a tribe. It's fun to hang out. Free to join for all. That is noagendastream.com. When you're in there, ask somebody to give you an invite for noagendasocial.com, our federated social network, part of the Mastodon Federation of Servers, which is, of course, the future Federate or Die. And in the morning to our artist for episode... Let me just get this for a second. That was episode 1247. What happened? All of a sudden, I can't reach my show notes. Oh, boy.
Uh-oh.
And that's Amazon. That doesn't make any sense.
Oh, it makes nothing but sense. Everyone's out to get Amazon.
Well, let me see. Well,
pigs.
Was it Nick the Rat, I believe, who did the artwork for 1247? It was the Karen warning sign, the yield for Karens.
I think it may have been Nick the Rat.
I'm pretty sure it was Nick the Rat. Holy crap, what is going on? This is like, what kind of day is this, man? This is nuts.
Well, you shouldn't be, what you just said and what you expressed earlier is resulting in more and more bad things happening. My daughter the other day said, this is going to be a bad day because there's some things that happened. Within an hour of saying that, she got hit by a bumblebee.
Oh, no.
Bit her right in the leg.
Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, no. This is horrible.
Yeah, so this can happen to you.
Well, there is a lot of weirdness going on with the planets and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. This is the Nick. It was Karen 19. Nick the Rat's the one who did it.
Yep.
There was a few. We were very disappointed in the art, but there was a few pieces that were usable. Today I'm looking. There's some good stuff coming in already. So things may have changed. It may just have been a fluke.
Yeah. But it was nice, and we looked at a couple different pieces, and you know, it was interesting because Bill Walsh, Sir Saturday, who's also on No Agenda Social, he did the Pink Floyd Black Prism artwork. You see there's like 4 different versions. Are you looking, or are you just?
I'm looking. Oh, the prism.
And
so he said prison.
No, prism. I'm not quite sure I understand what that was about, but we didn't I mean, we glossed over it. We didn't like it.
Well, no, there were at least 2 pieces we didn't get.
Well, this is one that we didn't get, but he's really angry. He's on No Agenda Social saying, "Oh, you only choose your friends. You only choose Nick the Rat and comic strip blogger and Darren."
No, well, let's stop right there.
I just had to say it.
Martin JJ, who for about, I'd say 2 or 3 months dominated the
yes, this is true.
What I call it an award. He was winning every single week.
This is true.
And to the point where he said, I can't keep this up because it's embarrassing. I'm winning too much. And so he's semi-retired, and he rarely does a piece. He'd do a piece once in a while. I don't think he listens live or cares anymore. But I looked back into his history.
He listens live. Who doesn't listen live?
I think Martin JJ.
Oh, now Martin JJ. He changed his work. He can't. He's working.
Well,
during
that was Pettigrew. That's what we talked specifically about.
No, I think
him.
JJ too. Martin JJ is around. Absolutely, he's still there.
Anyway, the point is that when he started hitting the homer week after, or show after show after show after show, it was unbelievable. I went back and looked at his history because it's available by clicking on his name on the No Agenda Art Generator.com, and he was producing art for about 6 months.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 years. Maybe it had been up to 2 years before hitting even one winner. But he kept it up. And then all of a sudden he got the hang of it. And that's the only way I could put it. It's like, you can get the hang of things. Your brain goes into, changes.
Right.
And then he started hitting a bunch of them, which is why it was interesting when people get hit one right away. There's only been a couple of those guys. But this piece is unusable. Let's just be honest about it.
Yeah.
It's not interesting. It's vague. We have no idea what it means. And to get mad about not picking it is ridiculous. And by the way, if you're going to go and do something so obscure, at least do your own No Agenda Dvorak Curry the letter and do it yourself instead of using the generator. So I'm irked about this story.
I was irked of being accused of being nepotist. We're not like that at all. I mean, you blocked Comic Strip Blogger on all platforms, and yet his artwork gets chosen. How is this possible? Because we go for the best product, people. That's all.
We don't even know generally speaking, let's go over the process again. Generally speaking, we look at the art.
Yeah.
We don't look at who did the art. Then we pick the art, and then because we have to blow it up, you got to click on it. Then you see who did it. That's always at the end of the choosing. Once in a while, when there's 2 or 3 pieces that we have to choose from, we have to look at them. We notice it's done by the same guy.
Mm-hmm.
But generally speaking, we don't know who the artist is until we decide on what art to pick.
Absolutely. We're just looking at the art. We're not looking at who made it at all. NoAgendaArtGenerator.com. That is where you can submit your artwork. We open to everybody. We love all the submissions, and of course, lots of this. I got my neck gaiters from NoAgendaShop.com. What a great solution to the mask that is! Oh my goodness, superior. You just wear it around your neck, which is great, especially if you're older and woman like me. So you got an old neck, and so you kind of can cover the neck up, and then when you need to mask up for some reason, just pull it up and pull it right down. It's perfect. Doesn't fog up my glasses.
Oh, that's a big deal.
It's a neck gaiter, people. Gaiter. Gaiter. Before we start with our executive producers and associate executive producers for today, a note from Secret Agent Paul, who has been producing for the show for many, many years. And he says, Adam, it's been a topic of much discussion recently. And it's something that's been around so long, I'm sure many listeners weren't around in 2011 when it first went into the No Agenda lexicon. My smokin' hot wife. Yes, Secret Agent Paul remembers the genesis. Like most things that catch on, this wasn't invented by John or Adam, or in this case, from producers, but came from a clip John played from July 2011 of the preacher Joe Nelms and his blessing before a NASCAR race. From that day onwards, producers began to refer to their partners as their smokin' hot wife. Please, says Secret Agent Paul, don't let this 9-year-old tradition end. And here is the original clip that started it all.
Heavenly Father, we thank you tonight for all your blessings. You said in all things give thanks. So we want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. And most of all, we thank you for Roush and Yates partnering to give us the power that we see before us tonight. Thank you for GM Performance Technology and the RO7 engines. Thank you for Sunoco Racing Fuel and Goodyear tires that bring performance and power to the track. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. My two children, Eli and Emma, or as we like to call them, the Little E's. Lord, I pray you bless the drivers and use them tonight. May they put on a performance worthy of this great track. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity. Amen.
Now, that's how you do sponsorships, NPR. Are you listening? That's how you do it. You bring in the preacher to just say, thank God for the Fords and the Toyotas and the Buicks and the Chevys. Thank Lord for the Pennzoil. Even got me an after-show ISO.
Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa.
A little too long, perhaps. I like the boogity, boogity, boogity at the end.
That's a good ISO right there.
It's not ISO'd.
Oh.
Well, I could, actually, but...
boogity, boogity, boogity.
Boogity, boogity... Here, where is it? Let's get the... Where's the boogity, boogity, boogity?
It's at the end.
Yeah. Anyway. Let's thank some of these people. Let's
start with Nathan Woodall. We have some nice donations today. He came in with $1,000, $33.33.
Wow.
In Pittsburgh.
Holy crap. Is it Instant Night or what is it?
Yeah, I think so, because this is what it said on some Instant Night thing going on.
Boom, nice.
First things first, my contribution has been a long time coming. While I don't fully understand how this night thing works, I do know one thing. Please de-douche the ever-loving shit out of me.
You've been de-douched.
You're
unlikely to be. It doesn't sound like he's a Pittsburghian.
By your command.
Second, I've signed up for the monthly mothership donation. I don't do this out of charity or guilt. I did it because you distinguished gentlemen provide more value to me than my Netflix or streaming subscription at half the price. And I felt it was appropriate. Thank you for the infotainment. Don't change. Keep up the excellence. Second and a half. I don't get it. Since I'm a, I see. He's doing, listen, this is 2.5. Since I'm in a night right now, I can talk down to the unwashed masses that upon my high horse, hey, douchebags, quit your effing freeloading or I'll set my dogs on you. Third, quick shout out to my smoking hot girlfriend, Rosie Palm. Rosie Palm. Huh? Speaking of smoking, hey, John, someone asked me once if I smoked after sex, and I said, I don't know, man. I never really looked.
Oh, yuck.
Yes, 1933. Fourth, Adam, thanks in advance for the podcast license. I promise to abuse it appropriately. Fifth, hey, John, I know this is old news, but I've wanted to say it for a long time. Yes, I'm not reading it. He doesn't deserve you. Oh, he's talking about Leo. Especially after the metastasized the formerly good tech show into fermented audio gawker clickbait. Okay. Hey, Adam, is there a Dutch word or equivalent for douchebag? Just curious.
Interesting.
Seventh.
Yes, there is.
Okay, tell us.
Zuckavusser.
Zuckavusser?
Yeah, Zucken. So it's you don't
Zucken.
It's ZAKKENWASSER. You don't pronounce the N, so it's Zuckavusser.
Zuckavusser.
You got it.
Zuckavusser. I'd like to be Sir Nathan of the Dog Pack. Please add me to the water bowls and bully sticks to the round table for me and my bitches. Photo attached. For the awe.
That's his dogs. That's cute.
Eighth, and finally, sincerely, thanks. Jingles, if appropriate. John's Nuts at the end of the show would be fun to hear again. And or something with doggies. I can't remember what you all have available, and as such, defer to your professional judgment. If nothing else, please just give me orange.
Yes.
He's referring to Fletcher.
Yep.
And finally, karma, as a dude named Ben. He's a dude named Ben. Please give me any and all of your karma you're deeming it's best for goodness of being. Okay, I don't know. Just give him some karma, too.
Yeah. Actually, the nuts is not that long. It's only 37 seconds.
Just go for it, John. Tell us your peeve about the fisting method of eating snacks on an airplane.
Okay. I see this on the airplane, and it's very annoying, and I think it will result in fights breaking out because it's just so annoying to watch. Guy takes his bag of peanuts, and he throws a pile of them into his palm of his hand, and then he makes a fist around the nuts. And then he shakes his fist to try to bring a nut to the little hole. Stop. To the little hole. And then he throws a nut in his mouth from his fist. Then he does it again. He shakes and throws and shakes and throws. It is annoying as hell to watch.
You've got karma.
A classic.
Dom Del Rosso, another $1,000. That's great.
Wow.
Longtime douchebag. I've been listening to your show religiously for 2 years and on and off for a while before that, thanks to my father.
Oh.
Here's to, I think, beating him to knighthood and a necessary de-douching.
You got it.
You've been de-douched.
Thank you very much, Don, and see you at the round table. This is great.
Travis Mercer from Charlotte, North Carolina came in at $333. I can find no note from a Travis Mercer.
Yeah, I can't even search for it at the moment, sadly.
Well, I looked earlier. I looked last night for it. I couldn't find it. Yeah, Jenny, if you got something to say, Travis, send us a note.
Yeah, send us a note. Send it to
Jenny
John.
Massey in Arvada, Colorado, 303. Hello from Denver.
Hello, Denver.
Another JRE fan. We're hooked. My husband and I get great value from every show. Wish we could attach pick, but instead the three words for 2020. Bat quarter. 3 words for 20. Oh, no. 2012. 3 words. 2020 bat quarter. It's actually 4 words if you think about it. I would like to hear your thoughts.
What? I don't understand the 2020 bat quarter.
Stumbled onto one last night. Jobs can go, karma, please. Okay, 2020 bat quarter, and she stumbled onto one last night. What is she talking about?
I mean, it was a quarter in the calendar year. That's so instead of the year of the bat, the quarter of the bat.
Yeah.
Well, Jenny, this is a mystery. You shall email us immediately from Colorado and let us know. And be very careful. Don't walk around that airport. The Illuminati are on the loose.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
I wanted a goat scream. Noah Wattenmacher, Sequoia. $250, our first associate executive producer. Parts unknown, but says, in the morning, Adam and John, I've had some quick ideas. I'd like to use my knighthood to pontificate if y'all don't mind. 1, barn bonds. Builders sell $100 informal microshares to neighbors to fund construction and pay interest from income until the bonds mature, other than use big bank loans. Can be used for any income-generated building. Okay. Thanks for the info. I didn't know it was a thing, but I do now. Now, 2 is interesting that Noah says here. Replace cops with unarmed local beat lawyers trained in deconfliction mediation and moms armed with infinite shoes. Let dad teams take the murderers, rapists, and pedophiles out back and put the fear of God back into them. Sounds like a lot of work, Noah. Noah does say, I think they have some potential and scalability. Please, Pelosi jobs karma. I think it's her harsh voice that cuts glass, which gets the job done. Yeah, blasting through the glass ceiling. Thank you for your courage. Noah Wattenmacher, a.k.a. Sequoia of the Sierra Bathyllus. Yes, Sequoia. We got it. Thank you very much. And here you go.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
With a twist of goat for you.
Ryan Riley in Queenstown, Maryland. $250 will be our associate executive producer. First things first, I've been a listener for 2 years and never donated. Please de-douche me.
All right.
You've been de-douched.
I wonder why the change of heart, Brian. What happened?
Yeah, what changed? Huh. Jingle request. John Brennan, guilty until alleged, followed by that's true. Followed by jobs karma for all producers who are struggling right now. Also, my mom, who shall remain anonymous, has been a listener for more than 6 months and is not donated. Please call my mom out as a douchebag. You know who you are.
Hey, Mom.
And then he says this donation is going to be split 50-50 as a first installment for me and my ravishing redhead fiancée,
nice
Allison.
One. I like that one. That's
Her night and day has been in the process of hitting her in the mouth for 2 years, and she's finally coming around.
Oh, goody.
Because of your excellent coverage of COVID. It bears mentioning that she studied climate science for her master's degree. Well, she's never coming around. Specifically,
she got us at a good time. There was no climate change discussion.
No, it hasn't come. Well, you mentioned something earlier. I did. Anyway, she's talking about air. She's an expert in aerosols in the Arctic. Due to this fact, my multiple attempts at hitting her in the mouth have been thwarted by chance. Every time she's turned to you guys, she seemed to be. You seem to be on a climate change segment. We appreciate everything you do and look forward to seeing you at the round table.
All right. So wait. When
Brennan?
When at the round table?
Well,
it's first installments. Okay, I got it. First installments. Yeah. Yes, no, and I have the jingles here. No problem.
People are innocent until alleged to be involved in some type of criminal activity.
That's true. Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
These guys are. I have to say, if half the stuff going on the way we're analyzing it, and we mention operations like the International Revolutionary People's Guerrilla Forces.
Yes.
John Brennan, and I have to, you have to call out the CIA, John Brennan. All these riots, everything that's been going on. Where are our intelligence folks? Where's the FBI? The FBI came out and said, Antifa, don't worry about it, no big deal.
Well, hold on.
What's going on?
That's exactly what Susan Rice said. She said she's reading the intelligence and...
she don't. No, she specifically said she's not reading the intelligence.
She said they hadn't read it today.
No, she says she's not reading it anymore. She's out of the loop. They've kicked her off the list.
Okay.
I heard. I've got that.
All right. I believe you.
But it's beside the point. Who are these people working for? Who is John Brennan serving?
Yeah.
All right. Sean O'Connor, $250. And why is the agency not doing anything about this?
Yeah.
Sean O'Connell, $250. I sent an email to Adam yesterday relating to 1247 and had to end it with love the show, not a producer yet. I felt like a massive douche. So I'm doing what I should have done months ago, and I'm showing you the money. Now, can I just say, love the show. John and Adam, keep up the great work.
Oh, that's so nice, Sean. And I'm going to de-douche you whether you deserve it or not.
You've been de-douched.
Dean Reiner in Portland, Oregon, 23456. One of our favorite numbers says, in the morning, crack pipe and buzz bomb. With all the forced overtime lately for postal workers, parcel delivery is up 76% nationwide. Thank you, Jeff Bezos. And nothing to spend it on, as well as your outstanding reporting and analysis, all uppercase. The cheese just piles up. So I am compelled to engage the value for value machine through this donation, even though it's still not equitable to the value of your product. Full disclosure, I've bitten off some no-agenda clips for use in my own value for value podcast. Up is down for you, dear friends. The podcast is titled Up is Down. For you, dear friends, have inspired me. I may be so bold. Will you plug my show? Yes. Hey, everybody, it's Adam Curry, Podfather. Please check out this great value for value podcast, Up is Down, by your host, Dean Reiner. Up and down. Hey, they can cut that out. Up and down. Oh.
No, leave it. It's good. He can cut that out. You're right. He can use that.
I'll do it even better. Up and down Up and Down is a media collage and journal of various mind control techniques, and inversions of logic used by the corporate and military class to keep the poverty and fear machines nice and greasy. That's the description. I think it's a badass product. I do the show 100% by myself when I'm not working 50 plus hours a week or full on dad with my 6-year-old daughter. Thank you for your courage. No, thank you for your courage. No Agenda is truly the best podcast in the universe, and not just because you may have contributed. Listen to this. No Agenda is truly the best podcast in the universe, and not just because you may have contributed to my divorce a few years ago, which makes me smile even more every time I listen. You know what happened? You know what happened.
I know what happened.
He found out he was married to the wrong person. Incompatible.
They were incompatible because she hated the show.
Yep. P.S. How can I get my podcast Up is Down on the No Agenda stream? I'm closing in on 12,000 downloads since I started it a year ago, and almost zero social media promotion until I just recently joined the Twitter. Maybe this is a question for Adam. Can I get some podcast jobs and relationship karma? Why, yes, you can. Go to noagendasocial.com. Hit up Sir Bemrose. Bemrose will help you get on the stream. We have an entire process to vet these podcasts. Yeah, send it to Bemrose. I'm sure it'll be okay. We're always
the podcast does make a difference. So
yeah, we're looking for good content.
Always content.
Yeah, good
content's
content.
Good. You get on.
And thank you very much, Dean. Here's your request.
I'm going to give you the whole load today.
Oh my gosh! Can you see that juice? You've got karma.
Sick. People love it. Sick. Love it. Sick.
Okay, let's go on with Ryan Miller in Whittier, of all places. Whittier, California. Mm-hmm. And he gave us $215 to support the show. He needs a de-douching, starting right off the bat.
You've been de-douched.
And for jingles, he's going to want your favorite Fletcher and Jobs karma.
Okay.
And then he writes, finally, donating with our long overdue donation. I could use a de-douching. We just gave you that. Referencing show 1246's artwork with the plague mask we live up against our daughter's middle school, which due to COVID couldn't promote.
Yeah,
I know what that means.
Next grade, to get to the next grade. Promote. Yeah.
Okay.
Graduate.
A few days back, she needed to drop off her books and Chromebook. Face coverings required. All her idea, she wore a plague mask to the show, fully expecting to be sent home. The opposite happened, and the teachers loved it. They knew exactly who she was, as apparently she has a reputation, included a couple of pics. Our little rebel.
Did you see it?
No, I didn't.
She had one of those beak masks on. Hilarious.
Yeah, the beak mask is very funny.
A kid can get away with it. A grown man is like, people are going to kick me in the shins.
Well, apparently there are a few people in New York wearing them. Yeah. My exquisitely stunning wife, and I love the show and appreciate all the hard work you do to keep our amygdala small. It's God's work. Ryan and Beth from Whittier, please play your favorite Fletcher, Yale, and Jobs karma. We got that on the list.
Will do, and thank you so much for your courage.
Corona!
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
It's a crazy house.
It's crazy. Night of the Twin Peaks, Sir Billy Bones.
Billy Bones, yes.
Billy Bones in Falls City, Washington, 20105. He's actually someplace else. The associate executive producer, note sent to John. I don't have it.
Really?
I'll look, and when there's a long note coming up that Adam's going to read because it won't even fit on my screen, and then I'll go look for this note.
Okay.
What is the real address? Do they have? No, of course not. Surprise! Here, I'll give you the problem. There's a note for everybody. This is like one of my edicts.
Okay.
If you're going to send me a donation note, because it's going to be a random note, and you're using anonymous names, it's not going to get into the spreadsheet, your real address. So always write donation note in all caps in the subject line, and I will find it. Okay.
People really don't do donation. In general, people do not use email very effectively, sadly.
Donation, no, it's very simple. So Tyler Fox, the Viscount of the Airways, is next. He's in Austin, Texas.
Yes, he is.
And he says, my first toward making my wicked smart, scorching hot wife a dame. See, this is an example of not using smoking hot. You get some creative here.
Yeah, scorching.
She's wicked smart.
Yeah.
Also, please add me to the birthday list for my 46 on Saturday the 6th. I'm looking for, by the way, I haven't banned, personally, I'm reading these notes, I haven't banned smoking hot. I'm just saying it. I like these other ones.
Yeah, we like to
I'm
mix
looking
it up.
forward to celebrating it at local 512 meetup with my fellow knights and dames. Also, a big old jobs karma. Please add it to the karma pool for everyone who needs it. And for my new endeavor, as always, thank you for keeping our amygdalas small and minds open. Cheers, Sir Tyler Fox, Viscount of the Airways.
Yeah, and I'll be seeing Tyler on Saturday. We got the 512 local meetup is back. So very excited we're going to go hang out with everybody. That'll be fun. Thank you very much, Sir Tyler. Appreciate it as always. And he wanted a big old jobs karma.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Nicholas Galante in Texas, Dallas, $200. No Agenda Crew. I've been listening religiously since hearing Adam on JRE, another guy. I've since gotten my molten red lava hot fiance on board as well.
Molten lava hot, nice.
Woo, that's too hot to handle.
That's too hot, man. It's too hot for this show.
I want to wish said fiance, the future Mrs. Belinda G, a happy birthday as she turns 32 today, 6'4". Thanks from us for keeping both of us and our amygdalas reasonably at a reasonable size. Nick G in Dallas.
Yeah, and thank you again. New tribe members over there from the Joe Rogan Experience. Quality people, man. Quality people. Very, very quick to support and get the idea immediately. So nice to have you. And, of course, from Texas. What do you expect? Speaking of such, Sir Texas Dragon from Louisville, Texas, $200. As one of our last associate executive producers. And let's see, Texas Dragon, Night of Flavor, back again with your cut of sales since my last donation, plus a little more. So this must be No Agenda Shop? No, I know what this is. This is the spices. 2020, what a year. Your insightful analysis has helped keep me grounded along with a little more bourbon than usual. Thank you both. And Evan Williams. All the news about COVID and rioting are draining, which is why I rely on y'all, mostly for my news. I do try to search out things that are inspiring, though. As a youngin' in the 70s, I was fascinated with space. Nerdy kids with photos of the space shuttle everywhere. The SpaceX Dragon launched last weekend was exciting to me. Sorry, Adam, I know we've done it before. So my jingle requests are Elon, Space Force, and a bit of theremin. A good dose of karma would be nice, too. My competition steaks will taste great, but not placing consistently in the top 10 like last year. Seems like judges are looking for more spice. This is the guy who you still have to come and visit, John, to learn how to do brisket or proper barbecue. I
can do proper barbecue. I can't do brisket.
I have a new spice combo to try my next cook. Habanero lime, citrus pepper, and some magic dust that I'm developing that makes a choice steak seem like prime. Spice karma, he says. Continued thanks to all the producers who have purchased seasonings and sauces from my website. That's what I was waiting for. Texas-dragon.com. www.texas-dragon.com. I'm glad you enjoyed and appreciate all the reviews. You got the rub from him, right? You tried some of that.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
It's a little spicy. It's a little hot. It's it's a good blend. I think it's very usable.
Okay, excelente. And for some reason, he's cut us into our business. We love it. With that ringing endorsement, bring on the percentage points.
Well, what am I supposed?
No. It's funny. This is exactly how it should be. I was trying to explain that the other day to someone. So we talk about products that we like. If we actually like them, we don't get paid. Sometimes we talk about a product, the person starts sending us money. So, but if we don't like it, we don't. It's the best way to run a media show. I'm so proud of everybody. All right, here you go.
Elon. Space Force.
Okay.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Well, I want to mention if you're going to buy a rub, this is a good rub to buy. I would buy it. At least try it out.
Yeah.
I make my own rub, so it's like, it's not that I use these commercial rubs so much, but I do in a pinch. They're handy because I shouldn't go through this agony. You just grab one and just dump it on there. That seems. By the way, I didn't find the one
notes.
guy.
Didn't find the note. No,
but I did find Travis Mercer.
Oh, okay. Well, this is good news. Back to Travis.
He was at the beginning.
Yes, back
good
to
day,
Travis.
gents. I'll be going for knighthood. I will start in the middle as an executive producer. I can't wait to update my ongoing business for self resume. Okay. He needs a de-douching?
Yep.
You've been de-douched.
He wants a shout out to Brian, who introduced him to the marvel that is Gitmo Nation. It has helped me through the scandemic. Also to my mom, Adele, who I hope is listening. We will find out if she is getting the real news agenda. Keep up the good work. Okay, here it is again. Now, this happened the last show. I get a message. It drops right in the middle of the screen, blackens everything out. Let's cross this one off your list. Windows is continuously improving, and updates are a normal part of the... So I clicked on, and this happened like an hour ago.
Like, don't do it. Don't update. Stop. Go away. That's
so
what
I clicked on Remind Me Tomorrow, and I did this. I clicked on that an hour or so ago. But no, here it is again. I'm going to click on it again, Remind Me Tomorrow, and go away. Okay, now this guy has a bunch of jingles. Sorry.
Yeah. Now, hold on one second. Did I hear he's going to be a knight because he is not on the list?
I'll be going for knighthood. I'm going to start in the middle as an executive producer.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. And he has a whole shitload of jingles. Bring it.
Unfortunately for you, so get your pen out. He needs a Sharpton no conflict. These you've already got. The whole load. And now he also wants Biden beats Biden, but that is not a clip.
No, we don't. That's not a thing.
That's not a clip. We don't have that because it was part of a long clip. We never made it in ISO.
No.
So that's not, you don't have to play that.
Nope.
We're all going to die in China, asshole.
Oh, that's not all that bad.
No, it would have been if you'd had the Biden beats Biden.
Yes, and asshole, and
I'll make that a clip in the weeks ahead.
Hey, and do we need a karma or something at the end?
Yeah, goat karma.
Goat karma.
There's no real karma.
Oh, job goat karma.
Give you the whole load today.
We're all gonna die.
China is asshole.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got
Oh yeah,
karma.
Way too tight for this market. I'm telling you, I should not be here.
No, you shouldn't. John Lucas finished things off, and I don't have. I'm sorry, we're short one message, but we will get it later. John Lucas in Colorado Springs is our final associate. $200. Thanks for hitting me in the mouth on JRE. We got another one. Where's my bell?
Yep.
It is. I spend 10 hours a week commuting. This is our audience.
Yes.
Commuting to my essential job, and I look forward to every episode and have started going through older episodes as well. One of the things I get a kick out of is Adam's parody of super excited old school radio announcers. So I was wondering if you could help me test a spot I put together with a read through. Ready?
Wait, where he has a spot? Okay.
I'll read it normally, and then you can read it as a pro. Sunday. The Sunday only comes on down. This Sunday, only come on down to your local shoe store for our going out of business sale. Due to unforeseen recent world events, our entire inventory is being liquidated. Bring your bricks and get free kicks.
Okay.
Oh, then he's also got Vans, $0, Converse, $0, Adidas, $0. Hurry, because at these crazy low prices are going fast. Don't you dare miss out. The owner of the store does not endorse this message.
Okay, let me see.
It's kind of a cold read, but Adam can do it.
No agenda.
That's right, everybody.
Adam Curry
and John C. Dvorak.
Sunday. Wait a minute. Wait. We got to do it right. If we're going to do it right. We don't mess around.
Echo.
Thank you. Donors are donors.
Mexican echo.
Hello. Wait, that's not the right one. Where's my reverb? Okay. Let me go over here. Yeah, this is going to be so worth it. I'm glad we're taking the time, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, I think that's it. Here we go. Sunday. This Sunday only. Come on down to your local shoe store for we're going out of business. I'm telling you, we are just insane. Yes, that's right. We got $0. Converse $0. Due to unforeseen recent world events, our entire inventory is being liquidated. Bring your bricks and get free kicks. Hurry, because these crazy prices are low. They're going fast. Don't you dare miss out. The owner of this store does not endorse this message.
Sounds good.
I've done better.
And but this was a cold read. It was a big difference.
It was hard.
If you rehearsed it and did it 10 times, you'd probably have something, that would go into the Broadcasting Hall of Fame.
Easily. Certainly the Podcast Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, that concludes our executive producer list and associate executive producer list for show 1248. These folks want to be thanked profusely for continuing making this show possible.
Yes, thank you. With these titles that you received, not everyone knows that. People are new from, came over from JRE. This title is executive producer or associate executive producer. Is a real producing title. You can put it on your resume. You can probably register with the Production Guild, I think, after you have enough of them under your belt. But it does seem to work, certainly if you're looking for gigs, for jobs, saying you are executive producer or associate executive producer of the No Agenda
DGA,
show.
Producers Guild of America.
That's right, DGA. Executive producer, associate executive producer of No Agenda show, episode 1248. We will vouch for you if anyone has any complaints about it. And we will also be back here again on Sunday with another brand spanking new lickety-split boogada show. Please support us and the work by going to
Dvorak.org/NA.
I think you're pretty much up to speed on everything. No, wait, we got another hour left.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth. The show is crazy.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
All right.
Well, your gain has gone way down on the jingles. It's been slowly creeping down. Now I can barely hear it.
Hold on. Really? Why does that? There's a bug in the machine, man. Something's wrong.
There's always a bug in the machine.
Let me see. No, wait, where is it? Really? It went way down? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I could barely hear the end of the last clip.
Huh. Let me see. Do you hear this?
I mean, I have a volume control on my speakers. I can write that.
Did you hear that? You heard that? You heard that?
Yeah, but it's really low.
Wow. Are you? But I'm not?
No, you're fine.
Hold on. This is weird. Okay, let's try this again. How'd that work?
No change.
No change. This is very strange, John. It's a little...
Well, I would just live with it.
No. That's got to be louder.
You may have been up a little bit on that one.
Screw you. How about this? Tell me that didn't come through.
That was okay.
Okay. Jeez. My goodness. Okay. I
have, to start this second half here, I did this it's not a super clip. It is what the news networks are all doing now, which I find to be borderline offensive.
Yeah.
And we did the NBC version of this. This is the ABC version of it, where they spend the first 2 minutes of the show, of the news show, telling you all the news stories, and so you can just listen to this and then walk. You don't need to even listen to you don't need to see the first drug ad. You can just listen to this.
Drug ad.
Yeah, you can listen to this and you can just say, okay, I got the news. I know what's going on. I got the whole thing laid out and this is ABC. This is David Muir, who, by the way, sounds like it sounds a little bit like he's got some adenoidal problems. I don't know what causes that, but
it happens.
A lot of guys in broadcasting seem to sound like this after a while.
I hear you.
So this is David Muir rattling off all the news. You can hang up after this.
Tonight, major developments in the killing of George Floyd in police custody. All 4 officers are now facing charges. The Minnesota Attorney General upgrading the charges against Derek Chauvin with his knee to Floyd's neck to second-degree murder now. And this evening, the 3 other ex-officers are now charged with aiding and abetting. Chauvin with his knee on Floyd's neck for nearly 9 minutes, as Floyd could be heard saying, "I can't breathe." The charging documents now revealing one officer suggesting they roll Floyd onto his side, Chauvin saying no. Tonight, George Floyd's son and family visiting the site where his father died, and what his 6-year-old daughter told us today. The anger across America, the 9th night of protesting, tens of thousands in the street at this hour across this nation. And we hear from many as they learn of the charges against the other officers. Hundreds laying face down in the nation's capital. The mayor of Philadelphia taking down a controversial statue overnight. There are breaking developments involving President Trump and his defense secretary. Secretary Mark Esper publicly breaking from the president, saying he does not support using active duty troops against American citizens. And what Esper said about that photo op in front of the church with the Bible. But then late today, after all of this, a meeting with Esper at the White House. And word Esper reversing again. U.S. troops will stay in the area. On this 9th night of protest, former President Obama just moments ago, and his new message to young men and women of color: I want you to know that you matter. Overseas tonight, the massive protests in London, thousands marching over the death of George Floyd, the huge crowd outside 10 Downing Street, Molotov cocktails hurled at the U.S. Embassy in Athens, and Pope Francis, in a rare move, mentioning George Floyd by name.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
All right. Good night, everybody. That's it. Our show is done. You're so right. That's why are they doing that? What is the
1 minute 56?
What's the thinking behind that?
And by the way, I watched the whole show. That was indeed every story
in the show.
Yeah. I don't know. Now I have to go to CBS and see what they're doing, because over the years we've noticed this, because I study these programs more than pretty much anything, and they copy each other. They've gone to the block sizes. One group gets a block size a certain number of minutes. The next guy, let's try that.
Yeah.
So they're all doing this. So why listen? I mean, pretty much you're done.
Well, I
know it doesn't make any sense.
No, but also either. All the things they say is like, oh, brother.
Oh yeah, it's just hardcore.
Just like hurt your brain, people.
Yeah,
slamming your brain.
Well, luckily, my brain doesn't hurt anymore, so don't know why. I do want to bring the Esper thing up, because there's something fishy about this.
Now, Esper is the Secretary of Defense.
Yes, and he was curious. He was called out by. Well, actually, there's a couple of things along these lines. Let's go on with this is it back to ABC. This is the military honchos have all, not all of them, but the same Hillary supporters. Mullen's a good example, have come out and condemned Trump over this situation going on. Of course, is with their and somehow they've dragged Mad Dog Madison.
Yes, I saw this with a beautiful profile picture. It makes him look really sexy. They really did a number on him for, what was that, Vanity Fair, or was Vogue, or what the hell was he in? Like, big piece.
Atlantic is the main article.
No, same thing. Vogue, Atlantic, same thing.
He was, and he's quoted out of context. And everybody quoted him out of context, it's because the magazine quoted him out of context with the headline. But that's okay. Nobody cares. Let's listen to military honchos against Trump.
And there's another developing headline on this, scathing words from former Defense Secretary James Mattis about President Trump as commander-in-chief, describing him as a threat to the Constitution.
Okay,
and it comes after other...
The article is headline, Mattis says that Trump's a threat, quote, threat to the Constitution. Underlines this, threat to the Constitution. He was played on all MSNBC. Oh, Mattis said he was a threat to the Constitution. And now we have David Muir, who obviously never read what Mattis had to actually say, is a threat to the Constitution. So I found a document. It wasn't an article by Mattis like they kind of made. It was written by some staff writer at the Atlantic, and he who interviewed him or took a paper. He wrote a short note that you couldn't stretch it into a long article. And if you look up the word threat with a search engine, you can't find it in there. He never says it's a threat to the Constitution.
Of course
he never says it.
Of course not. That's headline. That's all that cares.
But he apparently doesn't like Trump. There's no doubt about that. But that's fine. If he doesn't like Trump, he doesn't like Trump. But threat to the Constitution is never said or uttered. So why they keep implying that it is? Very offensive to me.
No kidding.
Okay, continue.
There's another developing headline on this, scathing words from former Defense Secretary James Mattis about President Trump as commander-in-chief, describing him as a threat to the Constitution. And it comes after other former military leaders are now, in a rare move, speaking out too. Martha Raddatz speaking to former Secretary Mattis just moments ago, and here's Martha on that part of the story tonight.
They are powerful images. The National Guard out in force at the Lincoln Memorial with hundreds of fellow citizens peacefully protesting below them on the National Mall. But growing outrage against the commander-in-chief from former top leaders in the military and Pentagon. In the Atlantic magazine tonight, withering words from retired General James Mattis, the president's former defense secretary, writing, "We are witnessing the consequences of 3 years without mature leadership. We must reject and hold accountable those in office who would make a mockery of our Constitution." President Trump's photo op and the defense secretary's reference to America's streets as battle space, prompting rare rebukes from 2 former chairmen of the Joint Chiefs. General Martin Dempsey writing, "America is not a battleground. Our fellow citizens are not the enemy." And Admiral Mike Mullen writing, "Trump's visit laid bare his disdain for the rights of peaceful protests in this country and risked further politicizing the men and women of our armed forces." And tonight, strong messages from leaders currently serving. The Navy's top admiral,
"I'll never know what it feels like when you watch that video of Mr. Floyd's murder. And I can't imagine the pain and the disappointment and the anger that many of you felt when you saw that."
Now, hold on a second. What did that last clip that she played, just strong message of this guy, this admiral, just complaining about the video? It's not about Trump. That wasn't anything about Trump. But they slipped it in there because they didn't have enough people. They had Mullen and Dempsey and Mattis bitching about the president, but they needed an extra guy. They needed somebody that could, let's put this guy's actually working there. And they throw it in bullshit. It was malarkey to put that last guy in there.
It's too bad you said malarkey. Otherwise, your rant was perfect. So what they've done is they are making this very clear neural hard link between protests, riots, and Trump. Death, video, Trump. Leadership, everything is... Let's play it again, that last bit. This one here.
Sizing the men and women of our armed forces. And tonight, strong messages from leaders currently serving. The Navy's top admiral,
"I'll never know what it feels like when you watch that video of Mr. Floyd's murder. And I can't imagine the pain and the disappointment and the anger that many of you felt when you saw that."
Well, it's not really a strong message, even if it was anti-Trump.
It wasn't anti-anything.
No,
it was
nothing.
Anti-murder. Now, this is the problem. This admiral, who's a top admiral in the Navy, I think, that's not on the Joint Chiefs. I don't think he is anyway. He has to be beside himself for being abused by ABC like this, because he knows that Trump is like so hypersensitive to to just propagandistic crap.
Oh, absolutely.
And now he's associated with it.
Yeah, now he's a target. Got it on. And Trump doesn't mess around.
You just stay off the air and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
They go in there and then they just take and twist it. It was, and another thing that there was some other little aspect of that clip that was Dempsey. Oh yeah, so they have the picture of the National Guard in front of the Lincoln Memorial and with a bunch of National Guard in front of it. Well, what if the National Guard wasn't in front of the Lincoln Memorial? What do you think might happen?
They would have
chopped Lincoln's head off and put graffiti all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had to guard the national monuments. And so this is bad. This is bad. Oh, you don't want that.
And her head is gone.
DC cops, they use the military for this. All they're doing is standing there, not shooting anybody, even though I'm sure a lot of people would like to see that.
What is the...
Let's listen to part...
Hold on. Question. What is the legality of using the military on your own people? I thought that was posse comitatus. You can't do that.
There is a thing called the Insurrection Act. It's a 200-year-old law. It's like the Logan Act.
Like the Logan Act.
It's a 200-year-old law that allows the president to call out the army to stop an insurrection if it's deemed such. That's where that comes from.
Wow. Has that ever been tested? Has anyone ever used that?
It's going to be tested shortly.
Yeah, if they don't stop it, sure will. That's for sure. Well, I'm
Mad
not for
Dog,
that.
this is the follow-up to that, what she did there. And this is the only time where she's actually kind of accurate. This is Mad Dog 3.
Did not want to directly attack President Trump. He wanted to stay out of politics, which makes this even more remarkable, David. He told me tonight, enough is enough. He said, Donald Trump is the first president in my lifetime who does not try to unite the American people. David?
Martha Raddatz with us tonight as well. Thank you, Martha.
Actually, they could have done a better job if you were going to go slam Trump. He actually said that in his little note. But he actually added a kicker, which I'm stunned that they didn't throw the kicker in. And the kicker he's the first president I've ever seen, not to mention Obama and everybody else is partisan, but okay. He's the first president in my lifetime. Well, that might be true because it definitely wasn't Eisenhower. In my lifetime, who actually looks like he doesn't want to unite the people. And the kicker was, as after that, he said, in fact, it looks like he wants to divide the people, which is a beauty to throw in there, but they left it out, and I'm just kind of stunned that wasn't in there.
That's a mess. That's a big mistake. They messed up.
I think they did.
Mistake.
So let's just go over this Esper thing real quick. So Esper quits out of the blue. He gets pissed off. He watches the news. The next thing you know, he quits. And then he goes back in, and I have some thoughts about this. This is the Esper brouhaha as portrayed on ABC.
And now to those breaking developments involving President Trump and his Secretary of Defense, Mark Esper. Esper publicly breaking with the president about using active duty troops against American citizens. And then late today, after a meeting at the White House, Esper appearing to reverse course again, saying those U.S. troops will stay in the D.C. area. Here's our chief White House correspondent, Jonathan Karl.
Today, a significant break between the president and his defense secretary over the issue of deploying active duty troops to crack down on violent protests in American cities. The president had threatened to do just that earlier this week.
If a city or state refuses to take the actions that are necessary to defend the life and property of their residents, then I will deploy the United States military and quickly solve the problem for them.
That would require the president to invoke a 200-plus-year-old law called the Insurrection Act. The defense secretary flatly said today he opposes that.
The option to use active duty forces in a law enforcement role should only be used as a matter of last resort and only in the most urgent and dire of situations. We are not in one of those situations now. I do not support invoking the Insurrection Act.
Secretary Esper also said the Pentagon is investigating why a National Guard helicopter was flying so low on Monday, in a way some saw as an effort to intimidate protesters. Esper's words were not welcome today at the White House. The press secretary made it clear the president is still very much considering invoking the Insurrection Act.
He has the sole authority to invoke the Insurrection Act, and if necessary, he will do so to protect American citizens.
This morning, the Pentagon had ordered 200 200 active duty military troops that had been in the D.C. area to go home. But after the defense secretary met with the president this afternoon, an abrupt reversal. The Pentagon said the troops will remain in place.
Huh. Now, it wasn't Esper that resigned. It was No,
it was Esper.
Esper didn't resign.
Yeah, Esper resigned.
No, someone... No.
Play the beginning of the... Yeah, no, he resigned. It was only for a few minutes.
Oh, okay, just for a few minutes. Okay, gotcha. Hey, I'm against this. I do not like this idea at all. I also don't think it's... We're at that point that you need to...
Well, I'm in agreement, but I got some other information. But let's play the second half of this clip.
Esper was part of the team that walked with the president Monday from the White House to St. John's Church for a photo op about 30 minutes after law enforcement forcibly removed hundreds of peaceful protesters to clear the way. The White House says that was done on orders from Attorney General Barr. Secretary Esper insists he knew nothing about it.
I was not aware of law enforcement's plans for the park. I was not briefed on them.
Today, the president claimed he didn't know about the plan to force out the peaceful protesters either.
I didn't say, move them out. I didn't know who was there. I figured I was going to walk over to the church very nearby.
So let's get to John Carl. He's right near St. John's Church tonight. We can see the demonstrators behind you, John. And when a protest flared up at the White House on Friday, we've now learned that President Trump was actually rushed to a secure bunker under the White House. There had been reports that happened. Now we know the reason why. John, as you know, the president was asked about this today, whether he was sent to the bunker, and he claimed he was just inspecting the bunker.
In an interview, the president acknowledged that he was taken to the bunker, but he said that he went there to inspect the place. In fact, I've got to tell you, David, I've been told by multiple sources that the president went there because of a heightened security alert. He was rushed there by the Secret Service. He didn't go there to inspect it.
Hey, Esper did not resign, okay? You're wrong about this, and it's also not in the clip. It was some guy named James Miller. Who's
I know Miller resigned. Play the beginning of the first clip again.
Okay.
And now to those breaking developments involving President Trump and his Secretary of Defense, Mark Esper. Esper publicly breaking with the president about using active duty troops against American citizens. And then late today, after a meeting at the White House, Esper appearing to reverse course again.
All right. It's interesting. They portrayed it as though he resigned and everything was, and I got suckered into it.
You sure did.
Yeah, I did.
That's why there's two of us. That's why there's two of us.
There's two of us. Now, but here's what we have: a policeman friend that is a retired cop, is a big city guy, and he says that it looks to him as though they're doing everything they can. These protesters, because there was one protester. I had a clip of her going on. Well, it's been resolved. The guy's been indicted, and the other cops have been arrested. But we're going to keep protesting. It looks like they're trying to deplete police resources and, in fact, show that the police can't handle this situation because you have all these, every Target and Best Buy is broken into because the police resources are standing on the corners and lining the streets as the protesters are walking up and down. And he says this can't go on forever because the police just can't, they're incapable of handling a situation like this for extended periods of time.
Yeah,
and that's why they call them the National Guard, which is different than the US military.
National Guard, I don't have a problem with. But the military, I'm very against that.
Well, the military call out is only for Washington, D.C., which is the seat of government.
It's not even a state. Go ahead, do whatever you want there. But I'm talking about in a state.
It's going to take a lot to get a...
That's not going to happen. Oh, okay. So
it shouldn't happen because the National Guard's big enough in every state.
Yes.
Every state National Guard is pretty large. They can the National Guard is fine.
But you made the point. You made the point. I didn't realize it was only for D.C. If it's just for D.C., absolutely, D.C. needs to be protected. And I have no problem with the military in D.C. Normal people don't live there. Go away. Yeah, bring in the military. I'm fine there, but not in any other state. This is stuff.
I don't see it happening in any other state.
No, but we really.
Although it'd be interesting in San Francisco, that'd be a kick.
It would definitely be a kick. But yeah, I think all these cities, they need to fix it themselves. And if the government can't do it, the local government, then the people themselves will rise up. I saw it. I saw people protecting their stuff, and but the military, nah. So
have you heard the latest Candace Owens screed that just came out yesterday?
I started to watch a little bit this morning. That was right as the email stuff was going down.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, check it out.
What did she say? What did she say?
Oh, it's long.
But what was the crux?
The basic crux was that the black community, which she has trouble liking, is extolling the virtues of criminals. Unlike the Jewish community, the white community, they never promote the lowest rungs of the society into hero status, where you have T-shirts with their pictures on it. And then she went through a litany of George Floyd's crimes over the years. He's been arrested and jailed 8 times minimum, including this one episode where he and a gang broke into this pregnant woman's house, held her at gunpoint, and he supposedly held a gun to her baby, still in the womb, and said, "I'm going to kill this baby if you don't, just sit down and shut up." And it was just a horrendous representation of the guy that everyone's worshiping. And it's well worth listening to, even though I didn't want to take any clips from it because I thought it was inflammatory.
Well, and also with her and with many of these things, it has to be in context. I mean, you can't just.
Well, she contextualizes it very well. That's why it's so long.
Well, that's what I mean.
She's not a slouch. She's very.
You can't just throw out a clip. You've got to.
That's what. Yeah, that's why I couldn't get any clips.
That's like because Mo Fax is late, right? I taped it really late on Tuesday night. Tino say, "Well, what was the show about?" And I say, "Well, I can't even explain it because some things you just can't put into a soundbite, ready to go. Oh, this is what it is. It just doesn't work that way, and especially when you're but fuck, man, people have no patience. They can't read beyond the headline. We're doomed. We're doomed. We're doomed. I tell you, that's it. We're done.
Well, that's the headline. That's why I brought up the point about Mad Dog Mattis and the headline that Trump's, something about attacking the Constitution. Hates it. Just bullcrap. The headline does not reflect the article.
Right. But the attacking the Constitution is the posse comitatus, and that's how they come up with that headline. Even though
no, they could no.
But it's about putting the military on.
This was before that even occurred. This little complaint of Mattis's. He just doesn't like Trump. He didn't like working for him. He didn't like the people that were working with him. He just didn't like it. And he was pretty good at shutting up about it until now. Now I have an ISO that might be useful.
Okay.
Does not make it okay.
Does not make it okay. Here we go.
Doesn't make it okay.
Who is that?
Doesn't make it okay.
Who is that?
I think that's Chris Cuomo.
Oh, is that Cuomo? Brother.
I think so.
Oh, please.
Now we can go. I have a bunch of other stuff here, but I would like to maybe do some Karen stuff.
You want to do that now? Then, okay.
Well, no, not necessarily.
No, I do. I actually do. I have a backgrounder, which is explanation of Karens and such from your very own national public radio system.
Oh, God.
As explained by white women who are going to explain the Karen meme. I thought it was actually, this is a professor who was going, professor who's going to explain the Karen meme. It's very short.
April Williams is a professor of communications and media at the University of Michigan. And she says the Karen meme resurged with a vengeance last month.
A woman named Karen was denying that COVID-19 was real, became ill, and unfortunately she passed away. And one of the things that I'm seeing is people saying, look, this is peak Karen behavior.
By the way, if I were to pinpoint a Karen, that voice,
yeah, she's one of them.
But there are other names. We must not just discriminate against the Karens. There are other names.
Karen, Becky, Susan.
Shut up for a second.
Karen, Becky, Susan are all the same type at different ages and also different economic and social classes.
Aha. different social and economic classes. Unfortunately,
I don't think she used the word economic in there.
Yes, she did. I'm pretty sure she did. We can check it. It's
Karen, Becky, Susan are all the same type at different ages and also different economic and social classes.
Yep, you're right.
Economic and social classes. However, I get the distinct feeling that Karens are only going to be white.
Kylie is typically for folks who are younger, 15 to 20-year-old. Kylie, for whatever reason, is just the name that we've settled on. Becky is anywhere from 20 years old to mid-30s range.
Hold on, stop.
People probably...
What do you mean we settled on? Are they calling? They're starting to kind of move this thing here and there. Are they settling on a name because it happens to be the same name as Trump's press secretary?
That's Kaylee.
Yeah, but close enough.
No. Kylie is related to Kylie Jenner. Come on. No.
Okay.
No. But what is interesting? This is a professor of media and communications. Oh man, if only I could get a degree in that.
Hold on a second. She's not a sociologist or something that actually or cultural anthropologist or someone who studies this sort of thing? She's just media?
Well, let's listen to her intro again.
April Williams is a professor of communications and media at the University of Michigan.
That's a PR woman. All PR women, that's the degree they get.
Well, she is deciding what we call women. So this is by age. And again, I'm kind of hearing that this, even though she says it's socioeconomic, I think it's racist.
Kylie is typically for folks who are younger, 15 to 20-year-old. Kylie, for whatever reason, is just the name that we've settled on. Becky is anywhere from 20 years old to mid-30s range. People probably say that this kind of person is quote-unquote basic, meaning peak whiteness, right? Things like pumpkin spice lattes. We would associate with a Becky. Once you've reached the Becky stage, now you're a Karen, mid-30s to mid-40s. You're used to having the entitlement now, and you're comfortable enough to say, you know what, I want to talk to your manager. Karen is classically associated with this idea of calling the manager. So this Karen, the manager that she's calling is the police, but it can be any situation in which a white woman is not satisfied and is now going to call the manager.
Okay, fuck you, lady. I'm sick of this shit. This is a professor. This is exactly what your children are being taught. It's a white woman. She does okay with socioeconomic because that's the truth. That's the truth. It's about a richer, upper middle class person, which can be any color, but you take it down to race.
Don Lemon is a Karen.
Yes, of course he's a Karen. But no, you heard this is a professor. A professor who says, oh no, it's got to be a white woman. Wow. That is what they're teaching in schools. Homeschool, take your children out of school, immediately save $100,000, give it to, seriously. I cannot tell you how happy I am that my daughter chose to not go to higher education.
So Nick, Jay's fiance, got his degree from San Francisco State. And they had all these requirements you had to take. And I was always, my running gag is, oh, did you take gender studies? Because there's all these requirements for things like gender studies. He says, no, he didn't have to. He took, to meet a requirement for his degree in broadcasting, he took women's health.
Which I'm sure is all about abortion.
No, it's women's health. It's that book, Our Bodies, Ourselves, that every woman usually has a copy of. And it basically was just going through that book. But why is a guy, or maybe what men should know about women's health would be a course of study that would be kind of interesting. Sure. But women's health. And I just shook my head on that. I didn't know what to say about that. I can't use the gender studies gag, but, you know.
What do we do in a situation where the media, and I don't even think it's nefarious. I I think that they think it's hip, it's cool. I know a lot of young white women who speak just like her, and use all these terms, but it's all predominantly anti themselves.
It's self-loathing white liberals. I'm sticking with that term.
How do you stop that? How do
you get? Well, maybe you have to stop it by figuring out how you got there in the first place.
Well, so here's a data point. So Mo, African-American, American descendant of slavery, I think would be preferred ADOS. This weekend, he had to go to a graduation, and it was, I think, his cousin or whatever. And he told this on the show, so I don't mind mentioning it a little bit. And so there's, brothers, cousins, it's a family that he doesn't see regularly. And he said, normally we tape the show on Monday, but I can't do it. I'm so drained. I just got back. And everybody is all, and these are blacks, all like, we got to vote for Joe. We got to get rid of Trump. And we talked about it. I said, well, what's going on? I said, here's the difference. And it's the same thing you and I have identified. So when I got my degree, I went to class, took my class, got out of there. I didn't go to college, didn't go away to school. He went to class. Says, all these other folks, my family, they went to college. And that's where it happens. He says, I can't see any other place where that kind of indoctrination is just jammed in. And, it's easy for us to gloss over the many tweets that we've received of people showing textbooks from their kids where it says, racist, Donald Trump is a racist. He said very fine people on both sides in Charlotte, which killed a woman. I mean, this kind of stuff is in the textbooks. It's in the material.
Yeah, you're right. We gloss it over a little bit because we've seen so much of it.
Yeah, you don't think about it anymore. And there's a whole generation. Well, you just saw it. You're watching the next generation. You're watching him on television, breaking stuff. And if they're not breaking stuff, they're spray painting. And if they're not spray painting, they're handing bricks to black men to throw at the cops. And if they're not doing that, they're just hangers on and have no future whatsoever, as far as I'm concerned. But that's the generation. I have no idea we're going to be working a long time, John. Someone's got to pay taxes in this country. These kids won't. They have no idea.
All right, so we're going to play my Karen clip.
Right on. Okay.
Unless you got more lead-ins.
No. I think we've done quite enough lead-in on Karen.
This is a Karen.
Bottom line, it's a despicable term because now I find out it's racist. So I'm not going to use it anymore, and I will not allow donations anymore.
I override this because it's not a pure veto. Karen, this is what gets me about some of these people is that they allow themselves to, in this case, she obviously filmed this herself and then posted it with a huge amount of disdain for what she was dealing with. Karen is driving down the street. She's in her car, stops, starts yelling out the window at some people erasing some graffiti off of a federal...
Erasing?
Yeah, they're erasing. They're taking this out. They're polishing it down. Some graffiti that was sprayed on the side of a federal building. And the graffiti consisted of BLM.
Right. Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, so somebody sprayed it on there, and they're getting rid of it because it's an eyesore.
Right.
So Karen decides to pull up, and you can't hear the response from the other people because she's so far away, but I can assure you that the responses are very innocent, and they're very, this is a horrible, and we got to clean this building off. It's a federal building, and she have none of it. None of it. Here we go.
Why are you guys removing Black Lives Matter's graffiti? But why do you want that to come off?
Well, because this is a federal building. Yeah, it's just a vandalism.
But so you don't care about Black lives then?
Not at all. That's not at all what we're saying.
That's what this...
We certainly do care about Black lives.
Not enough to leave up a message. Great. Not a great way to use your white privilege, ladies. Not a great... That's disgusting.
Wow. Yeah, this is it. This is the problem. Why don't I come to your house and and spray paint a big BLM on your car? It's a great message.
Actually, if it was some other group instead of these nice women that were just, I don't know, trying to get this cleaned off, somebody with a little more nerve would take a spray can and go over to her car and put BLM on it. There you go.
Yeah,
there's your message.
That's
Drive
your
around,
message.
lady.
Drive around with that. Wow.
But then at the very end, she mutters, disgusting. Because it's disgusting people are trying to clean their damn building. And I just found this to be the most offensive clip I have found. It was on Twitter, ever.
Underinformed and over-socialized. That's what these people are. And it's, there you go. I'm speechless. I'm speechless about this. Where will this lead? What will? I think we need to bring in like some expert, some like the amazing Kreskin, someone who can really do some reverse hypnosis, because I don't even know what to say when I hear that clip. I really don't, and it's just.
You could say clip of the day.
Oh, well, you know what? I could say that, or I could say bend over, Dvorak.
Clip of the day. I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh, yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
And I can assure you that during the course of this show, to actually ask for clip of the day and receive it
is very rare.
It's incredibly rare. It's like pulling teeth.
But I am banning.
I knew he would have given it to me, but I know he was so stunned by the clip.
But I will be banning the Karen donation. I don't know how you can even say that I did that's not veto. What are you talking about? Of course that's veto.
No, you can't ban this donation. Well, let's see how they do today. Of
course you can.
There's a bunch of people that... 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well,
5,
at this
6.
point, it's a racist thing. I want nothing to do with it. I'm
only
sick
10.
Of that shit.
It's not racist.
What?
There's only 10, and I said if it was going to keep dropping, which it did, I can't fight it. Can't really fight it.
You cannot.
Farmer Todd, meanwhile, gets credit for $169.49 from Wellsboro, Pennsylvania. But before I credit him, and he's got a birthday coming up with a nice little note, I do have Gina in the Vortex.
Oh, no. Get out of town. Don't tell me you've got that fixed.
I have it slightly fixed. I can read her note that she kept insisting on being read. First, she sends a prelude to the note, and she's got this website, AmericanMedical-ID.com, and then she's working on a bracelet or something, and she wants some feedback. Go to that website. There's something there that you should look at. And this is Betty Bloodlust, as she calls herself. She's a farmer in northern Nevada. And I'll read her original note, a part of it. I can't read the whole thing because these notes that she writes, this is beyond the pale. It's too much.
Okay.
I've been listening to the show since July. First of my many prophetic words I heard was Adam proclaiming how Trump would get to the White House. Takes one look around and says, what a dump. Of course, Adam was right. On the road trip home from Vegas right after the RNC that year, I was hit in the mouth by my longtime listener and brother and douchebag. Please call out my brother, a.k.a. the other guy on the ticket. He knows who he is as a douchebag. To my knowledge, he's never donated, although I've never donated until now myself. I have been diligent in hitting others in the mouth regularly. I like to be known as Betty Bloodlust of the Black Rock Black Thumbs. And she wants you to say that 5 times. As this is my first time donating, I humbly request a de-douching along with the de-douching.
I'm sorry, along with what?
No, go on that de-douching. Go on.
You've been de-douched.
And a de-douching for my Hercules hot husband.
Okay.
You've been de-douched.
I want to split the donation with him. Says I don't want to be married to a douchebag. And we are partners in everything. I hit my husband in the mouth in January 2019. At first, he just humored me by listening along, but I think it's safe to say he now values your show as much as I do.
Oh.
Although he'd never admit it to anyone. It's true that the family that listens to the best podcasts in the universe, according to the Mueller report together, keeps a healthy-sized amygdala. And she has, sounds pretty, she's now, I'd have to figure out what she has some jingle requests buried in here. If I may ask for jingles, Obama, No Chicken Dance, because it's Hercules' favorite, and helping a Space Force. There you go. You got the No Chicken Dance, Obama, and Space Force. We're out of here.
Space Force.
kind of a letdown after that.
Well, this is kind of funny.
Yeah, it is.
All right, we're done with that.
All right.
Cured.
All right.
She's out of the vortex.
Yay.
Anyway, was I saying something?
Well, we're doing donations.
I do have some super cuts. I got a couple super cuts.
Hey, John, we're doing donations. What are you doing? We have donations to do.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What the hell is wrong with you, man?
B12, I told you earlier.
Okay, if you don't have B12 by Sunday, then we're not doing a show.
And why won't we be doing a show? It's because I'll forget to get up.
Exactly. You won't even get up.
Yeah, what am I thinking? All right, we did Farmer Todd. Let's go to...
Did we do Farmer Todd? Did we
Genosha's Moser.
Excuse me.
What?
Did we do Farmer Todd? I don't think we did Farmer Todd.
Yes, we did Farmer Todd.
Okay.
Because before I went on the tangent, I said he's got a birthday coming up.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Okay.
And I mentioned, okay. Then I went on the tangent. Then I forgot my place because I don't have enough B12 in my system. And now I'm back on track.
Yeah, and these we just read through, John. You have to read every note. Just reminding you.
What? Janosch Moser, Frankfurt on Main in Deutschland, 124.80. Matt Hyde in Brighton, East Sussex. We got our international audience today, 123.45.
Dude, talking to the microphone. Where are you?
I'm not. Oh.
You are not fisting properly.
Excuse me?
Yeah,
Sean Eubanks in Knightsdale, North Carolina, $101.01.
Oh, wait. I've been a douchebag for years and love the show. He needs a de-douching.
You've been de-douched.
Our buddy Baron Latikin in Houston, $100. John Robinet, Sir John, I think. Harrison Newman. John Robinet came in at 100, and so did Harrison Newman in St. George, Kansas, 100. L'Oreal Rhine in Statesville, North Carolina, 100. Tom DiNardo in East Bethel, Minnesota, 100. Nathan Lombardi, 99.99. He's in Boston, Massachusetts.
Niner. I haven't had one of those in a while.
They haven't had a niner for a long time. Thomas Wilkinson in Ottawa, Ontario, 69. Jacqueline Priester in 29 Palms, California. That's out in the desert.
Just one second. Nathan Lombardi, and these people are new, so I want to make sure they understand. He sent a note. He says he's brand new, and he got hit in the mouth from the Joe Rogan experience. So he does need a de-douching, which I'll give him. But just so you understand, the reading of notes is not obligatory under the executive producer level and associate executive producer level, mainly because they're usually just too many notes and too long. But you're brand new. Here's your de-douche.
You've been de-douched.
Thank you very much.
Even though this has been going on for a few weeks, the Joe Rogan listeners seem to still want to write notes at these lower levels, which is problematic.
Well, I just don't
problematic.
I just don't want them to feel disappointed if we don't read them, because we just can't.
We don't. We generally, especially on days where there's a lot of.
But for instance, Jacqueline Priester with 6666. Happy birthday to my mom, the honey badger, the dirt dog, and all-around hardworking badass Diane Holst, who turned 66 on June 6, hence the 66.66 donation. And she's on the list.
Sir Vonster, Knight of the Vector Realm, 60 in Salem, Oregon. Kurt Von Air in Ann Arbor, Michigan, 5555. Peter Chong in Lakewood, Washington, 5510. Double nickels on the dime with Brian Furley, too, in Littleton, Colorado. And Richard Zula, also double nickels on the dime.
Richard Zula says, today I reached $1,000 in donations and have achieved my knighthood. Paperwork below. Please knight me, Sir Rich of the Backyard. You do important work going beyond the soundbite. No Agenda listeners are able to experience the world free of control and manipulation. I look forward to the mutton and mead, and please add me to the birthday list belatedly from Monday, June 1st. You bet, Richard Zula, and we'll see you momentarily.
Tommy Barnes, Midland, Texas, 5510. Yeah, for some reason, a lot of double nickels on the dime today. Sir Don Barron of New Hampshire in the Merrimack Valley, also double nickels on the dime. He's in Wyndham. Sir Brian Tobiason in Gardner, Kansas.
Tobiason, I think.
Tobiason, duh.
Yes.
Riyadh, 5388. Jessica Natalie in Victoria, BC, 5335. Matthew Grace, 52. Ryan Sadler, 5150. He's in Phoenix, Arizona. Moose. Or is it Moose?
No, Moose.
Palmer, Alaska. 5033. The following people are $50 donors, name and location, if applicable. Andrew Overham in Knoxville, Anonymous in West Bloomfield, Matthew Januszewski, Sir Matthew in Chicago, Paul Contramas in Westwood, Massachusetts, Bradley Ledden, Robert Witt, Bradley Schroeder in Milton, Georgia, Donald Richards, Dame Jennifer Buchanan in Charleston, South Carolina, our producer of the videos.
Animated No Agenda, everybody.
Michael Janoski in Lindora, Pennsylvania. Richard Lang III. Douglas Engstrom, David Beach in San Antonio, and Joel Gerard in Murray. Now, the next 10 people, I'm just going to read their first names, are the donors to the $49.99 Karen donation, which Adam, the $49 donation, which is even less, is one. It's not enough. Which Adam has refused to, he's now has vetoed. We can't do it anymore.
Well, I'd like to veto it, but you said I couldn't have a veto.
No, I said that you didn't veto it. You said you disliked it, and then you vetoed it later.
Okay, I withdraw the veto until after show discussion.
Brad, Keith, Daniel, Dane, Kyriakis, a man from Uncle, Nicholas, Daniel, and Michael, Megan, and Brian. And Brendan. Oh, and Lee, and Gary, and John, and James, and Kyle. There's more than I thought.
This is interesting.
I don't know. This
and
just
Mark
showed up.
Mark is the last one.
Mark and Jenny, and that's it.
Hey, Brendan says in all caps, Adam and John, hi, former associate executive producer here. When Adam said the Karen donation would be discontinued, I was pissed. Really? I'll have you know that the Karen donations will never be silenced. If you refuse to grant us Karenship, I'll go straight to your advertisers and complain. Love and light from Anon Karen. All right.
Oh, so he's noticed this is a trend of yours.
I guess. Did I say that? I guess I did. Well, I mean
apparently.
And now it's a racist, crazy stuff.
Right.
I don't want to be associated with the professor. Media and communications. Oh, brother. Thank you all very much for your support of the No Agenda show. This is the only way that this thing can be produced. And just look at what's coming in. I mean, from Void Zero being able to take an emergency call this morning and swap out servers and help, to artwork, highly contested, controversial, to the almost 2,000 trolls in the troll room. Everybody sending clips, information, your background, your expertise. It is so appreciated, and it is Radio 2.0. We call it a podcast. We call it the best podcast in the universe. Thank you so much. And remember, we're going to do it again on Sunday, so join us and consider supporting the show.
Dvorak.org/NA.
I think we should do a jobs karma for everybody.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
indeed. It is the 4th of June, 2020. We have a number of people to congratulate on the birthday list. Sir Tyler Fox turns 46 years old today. Nicholas Galante says happy birthday to his molten red-hot lava fiancée, Belinda G. She turned 32 on the 4th. Farmer Todd congratulates his dad with his birthday. Jacqueline Priester, happy birthday to her mom. The Honey Badger, Diane Hull, 66 today. Richard Zula celebrated on June 1st. Jessica Natal says happy birthday to her husband, Stephen Woolard, turns 35. And happy birthday to DC Girls celebrating today. Happy birthday from all your buddies here at the best podcast in the universe.
It's your birthday, yeah.
Hey now, 1, 2, we've got 3 knighthoods, which is always nice. That's not your sword. Where's your sword?
Oh, sorry, let me grab it. I need
go.
the B3. Oh, now it's B3. I don't even remember. It's B12.
To the podium, please, Nathan Woodall, Don Del Rosso, and Richard Zula, all three of you, thanks to your fantastic contributions to Instanites of $1,000 or more to the No Agenda Show. You have reached the status of knight, and we gladly welcome you here at the round table of the Knights and Dames, and I am proud to pronounce to Kate the Sir Nathan of the Dog Pack, Sir Dell, and Sir Rich of the Backyard. For you gentlemen, hookers and blow, rent boys, and Chardonnay. We have water bowls and bully sticks, taquito and tequila. We got parliaments and pale ale, bong hits and bourbon, geishas and sake, ginger ale and gerbils, breast milk and pablum, and mutton and mead for those of you who have heard about it and want to give it a shot. And, of course, with your knighthood comes your certificate and your signet ring and also your sealing wax. So go to noagendanation.com/rings, and we'll be very happy to get it off to you as soon as possible if you give our address. And thank you all, and also those under $50, under the Karens, the lower than Karens, you are appreciated. It's a lot of the subscriptions that really make a difference when the going gets tough. No Agenda Show. It is your best podcast in the universe. Dvorak.org/NA.
No Agenda Meetups.
It is just like a party, and we have a couple of meetups as they start to crank up. I'm very excited about this. And it starts, well, it doesn't really start. We've had people doing meetups around the globe, but now I think we're kind of getting back into the swing of things. This Saturday, the local 512 Kung Flu Fighting Meetup, 2 o'clock here in Austin. That will be Sir Scott's Black Baronet, Knight of the No Agenda Armory, his lovely wife, along with guest co-organizer Sir Tyler Fox and the No Agenda Tribe to reboot the local 512 monthly dose of sanity. And that will be, as I said, Saturday, 2 o'clock, Doc's Backyard Patio in Sunset Valley. I'm going to be there. Sunday, June 7th, the Philly Local 76, the cookout in the courtyard at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Beer, burgers, hot dogs, Ridge chips, and, of course, mac and cheese. Please RSVP if you're attending. Try and reach out to me via email listed. This is Sir Scatman of Norristown, and he is organizing that. Go to noagendameetups.com to RSVP. June 20th on Saturday, we had 7 events. 5 ongoing, 1 maybe, 1 canceled. The Toronto Park, 33 in the Toronto Park has been canceled. Midland, Texas is a maybe, but ongoing. The Ride Up Truckee in California. First Western New York, Dansville, New York. Local 406. Re-Up and Damehood Celebration, Missoula, Montana. And we have the second ever Shillanoisian meetup in Urbana, Illinois. Check noagendameetups.com for all the information. I might as well tell you that we have the Bisbee, Arizona meetup coming up on June 21st. That's Sunday in 2 weeks. And June 27th, Saturday, the New England Post-Rona meetup in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, where I hail from. My mom was from Pawtucket. And the No Agenda 3 Mile Island evac zone meetup number 3 in Lewisberry, Pennsylvania, also on the June 27th. It's all coming to a crazy bar near you. It is the No Agenda meetups. Go hang out with people who are different in every way except for the way they think.
Sometimes you want to go hang out with all the nights and days. You want to be where you won't be triggered or held to blame.
couple of things to mention. On the last show, I accidentally mixed up PMX UK with GX2 as a credit for the end of show mix. I apologize for that. It was so good to have him back. I got excited and misnomed him. And I got a message from one of our knights over at Apple yesterday, the day before yesterday. We're number 168 on the iTunes Top 100. Or Top 200, actually. Which is considered to be extremely good.
Yeah, that is good. But what is that based on what?
Apple magic sauce, man. No one knows. That doesn't matter.
All right.
Well, I'm glad you're so excited.
Well, I'm familiar with these lists, and the Apple one has always been, I see all kinds of things up there. Oh, number one this week, and a podcast you never heard of. Nobody listens to it.
That seems highly unlikely that nobody listens to the podcast at number one. Highly unlikely, but okay.
Well, there's a lot of podcasts. When I say nobody listens, I mean they have an audience of a few people that
but you don't know
it
that
in all at the same time. It's like I said, it's a secret sauce. Who knows? I've seen a lot of podcasts up there on their top 10. I'm not talking about the top 200. It might be more accurate, actually.
That's what I think.
Podcasts that are like, I don't know.
Just because you don't like them
but
doesn't
I'll be
mean
more
that people
thrilled
aren't
next time.
Yeah.
I'm running out of steam.
Yeah, you got.
Here, I got something to jack me up. Here we go.
Nasty. It triggers me every single time. I can't help it. I go straight into madness. I want to.
How about a little COVID update, which we haven't done the last couple of shows, to keep people apprised of what's going on around the world?
Yes, and I have some updates for that as well. So, which one would you like to start with?
Well, let's do the COVID South Korea so we can get a clue about that.
Just days after reopening, hundreds of schools in South Korea are closing after spikes in coronavirus cases. South Korea reported 39 new cases today, many connected to an outbreak at an e-commerce distribution center outside Seoul. Earlier this week, many schools opened for the first time in more than 2 months, with students greeted with hand sanitizers and temperature checks. But after the recent uptick in cases, health officials decided to re-close schools as well as museums and parks.
Reuters reports that the coronavirus is losing potency, according to Italian doctors. It's going to be
I heard that too.
Very hard to create a vaccine if you don't have something to test it against.
They couldn't get the vaccine out.
Couldn't get it fast enough, man. We lost the virus. Don't worry, it'll be back in November.
This is exactly the process that happened with SARS. What happened to the SARS? Where is it? Where's nobody getting that? COVID-1.
Well,
all right. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, it appears to me we have these overcharged, the cops have been charged with second-degree murder, which, of course, they can't prove because there's just not enough proof. So the cop will get off. Third-degree murder was...
So that's the idea.
Was appropriate, yeah. And it's going to happen right before November, and because, of course, it takes months for these trials to go on. It'll be timed perfectly. And then we'll have another super spreader event, which, of course, we won't see now, but we'll be reminded that that's what happened. And then God save us. He put it that way.
Well,
voting from home.
Everyone has to. Keith Ellison, the guy who is the secretary of the Attorney General
in Minnesota, yeah.
Yeah, he's Attorney General of Minnesota. He was the guy who beat his wife. He's notorious, caught doing it.
Yeah, it's on video. Isn't it even on video?
Yeah, I beat her. And they elected him because Minnesota's a corrupt state. The elections are rigged, so everybody's a Democrat. There's not a Republican anywhere to be found. I mean, not at the state level. They're all Democrats. So he saw this going on, and I've watched this on Court TV. I discussed it in the newsletter. The guys on Court TV made this all these experts around the table. They said, look, we've seen this before where you start to jack up the charges and then you go up against the jury and you can't prove these charges. And the next thing you know, the guy's acquitted. You've got to keep the charges reasonable. That's third degree. That's a slam dunk. But right. No. They're going to raise the charges. That way the guy can't get convicted because of the nature of the laws in Minnesota.
Right.
They're very rigid about what you can charge. You can charge people for different kinds of deaths. And this is a setup. It's a setup. The Justice Department is going to have to step in and grab this case and then put it on the slow track to nowhere and get it past November.
Yep. Yeah,
that's what's going to happen. Right. What you said is this is just a setup. It's a scam. All right, I got my other COVID. This is France update.
Ooh, hello, France. How you doing?
In France, officials announced the iconic Louvre Art Museum in Paris will reopen on July 6th. Visitors will be required to wear masks and to maintain social distancing.
How do you maintain? Have you been to the Louvre within the last 20 years?
Yes, I have. No,
have you looked
actually.
at with the Mona Lisa, the situation at the Mona Lisa? They're throngs.
Yeah, please social distance. They'll have little spots for you to stand on, and oh man, hey, all I know is we have about 10 days left before we'll see the results of everybody outside not social distancing, pulling their mask down, touching their mask with their hands and their face, and we should see a huge surge.
Yeah, we should, but we won't.
This is CNBC regarding what companies are doing when it comes to the Rona.
Busan. Online retailer Stitch Fix has a message for some of its California-based stylists. Relocate or lose your job. Kate Rooney has the details on what's behind this move. Kate.
Yeah, this is not the only company doing this.
Hey, Sarah. So Stitch Fix is cutting 1,400 jobs in California, but with a caveat. California-based stylists can keep their jobs if they move to a less expensive city. CEO Katrina Lake saying Stitch Fix is investing in other styling hubs, including Pittsburgh, Dallas, and Minneapolis. It joins companies like Tesla and Palantir, who have publicly said that the rising cost and complexity of operating in the state add to the debate over the state's appeal for business. And of course, you have a debate over tech workers. We had Twitter, Square, and Facebook all recently announcing that that their employees could work from home. Guys.
Kate, thanks so much for that. Time now for
You know, when the Rona first started, I believe that I said that Silicon Valley companies are going to be pushing for this. There's going to be a huge boom for work at home. And you scoffed a little bit, if I recall correctly. And this is exactly what's happening.
I wrote a Cosmic Weenie essay on it.
Exactly. You said it wasn't going to happen. People don't know how to do it. It's very inefficient in my category. But it's happening.
Kind of.
Well, it was.
I don't think it's happening.
You didn't hear the report where they literally just said people can work from home, work in a different state?
Well, we'll see what happens, but that is a small segment of the totality of American industry.
I said
those few people in Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley. That's what I said. Silicon Valley companies. That's what I said.
No, you thought there was going to be a bigger movement.
No, I said Silicon Valley companies. It's okay.
Well, Silicon Valley companies could technically always work from home, but they don't like it.
Well, they do now. They do now.
It's not over. This whole thing's not over.
It's never going to be over. Corona will never die if we don't get smart and stop the insanity.
Stop the insanity.
It seems so wasteful, but some American dairy farmers are dumping milk, like the 56,000 pounds produced by farm owner Mark Muller in northeast Wisconsin.
You put all that labor and work into the milk, and you hate to see it go down the drain when you know that there's people starving in the world and in our country even. We hate to throw things away.
Despite strong demand for milk as consumers stay home amid the coronavirus pandemic, dairy cooperatives that oversee marketing and shipping logistics are asking some farmers to dump milk. Supply chain disruptions due to the outbreak are preventing farmers from getting their products to the markets. With schools and restaurants closed, milk processors have to shift to selling to retail grocers instead of wholesalers. That creates logistical and packaging challenges. What's more, trucking companies are scrambling for drivers as some who fear the virus have stopped working. Overseas dairy markets have dried up, and it doesn't help that milk is highly perishable. Some farmers say they will be paid for the milk they dump, but payments for all co-op members will take a hit from lost revenues.
Yeah, no mention of the nut sap industry. I'm sure that's not helping.
Oh, the whole thing.
I mean, the backups, like they literally have to dump milk because the cows need. You can't just not milk the cow.
No, the cow needs milking.
Oh my goodness. Hey, end of show ISOs. We have
doesn't make it okay.
We have that one. We have
look. This is peak Karen behavior.
We have that. I don't know if you like either. If you like that one. And what was the other? Didn't you have another one?
No. No, you had another one. You had played something early in the game.
I think. Oh, really?
Right at the beginning of the show, you played one.
Nah, at the beginning of the show.
Not the beginning, but very close to the beginning. Yeah. Yeah. Be
yeah.
well.
So that's the only one I had, I think.
Well, I don't know. Would you want to use the Karen one? Is nice. I don't think it's well cut.
Look, this is peak Karen behavior.
Okay, why don't I... Here's what I'll do. We can do this on the fly. We can do it live! We can do it live, man! We'll do it live. Okay, so we'll cut this out.
Look, this is...
That's what I'll do.
Peak Karen behavior.
Just keep peak Karen behavior?
No, I like the look. It just sounded like there's a little clipping in front of it.
Look, this is...
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Look, this is peak Karen...
Right? Like that? We good?
Yeah, I like it.
Here's an idea. Why don't we end the show? Crap. So that I can go work on all systems. It's going to be a late night fixing all this stuff. Gosh darn it. Thank you all very much for supporting the show, putting it together, making it work for all. We do have end of show mixes. We got a special one from Nadia with a true message, which I think you will enjoy. We got one from Noah. And we got one...
Illuminadia?
Yes. Huh? Yeah, girl can sing.
She's a very creative person.
Well, not only that, but she sings, she plays piano, she spins plates. It's fantastic. Coming to you from Opportunity Zone 33 here in Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State, FEMA region number 6 on all the governmental maps if you're looking for it. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where things are peaceful, I'm John C. Dvorak.
Coming up on No Agenda Stream, we've got random thoughts, hashtags don't matter, and we would like you to remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. We'll be back on Sunday. Until then, adios, mofos, and such.
Governments have been using a range of Orwellian mind control tricks during the coronavirus crisis. The slogans, the clapping and the symbols have been carefully used to enable the authorities to take control of our thinking. Now we've been very successfully and skillfully manipulated into believing the lies we've been fed. We've all been quietly hypnotized and indoctrinated to accept the new mass hysteria generated by governments everywhere. Many people now enjoy the lockdown and they don't want it to end. It enables them to avoid responsibility for their own lives. Do you remember who said, through clever, constant application of propaganda, people can be made to consider the most wretched life as paradise? Well, it was Adolf Hitler, who was a master of mass manipulation and the use of subliminal techniques, and it was Hitler who also commented that it was a good fortune for governments that the mass of people do not think. If you love your parents, lock them up. To visit each other is to kill each other. If you love your parents, lock them up. To visit each other is to kill each other. The symbols clapping, the slogans are clapping, and the symbols clapping, the slogans are clapping, and the symbols...
Huzzah! Huzzah! I must play. I'm a brilliant violinist.
Oh, brother.
Give me that fuck off.
Yay. Excellent. Oh, my God.
People making songs from that.
It's shit.
From the recorder, Moon Over Miami by virtuoso John C. Dvorak. He's so good.
This is cool. No, I'm interested. More bullcrap. Stop, man. Stop.
Hold on, stop a second.
It's lit.
Well, I'm going downstairs to get my tea.
I think that sounds pretty good.
Testing, 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 testing to you. Ooh. Kaleidoscope. I believe this is new. That concludes today's offerings. Until next time, I bid you adieu. They edit in such a way that it's obviously been edited. Have you noticed this?
Wow. No one cares.
You love the show and listen every single week because it has the deconstruction that you seek. Why don't you donate like the dames and knights do? Get on your phone and donate some money too. If you would have donated just a day ago, I wouldn't have called you out as a douchebag on the show. Why don't you donate like the dames and knights do? Get on your PayPal, donate some money too. The value for value system seems pretty clear. Throw 'em a couple bucks if you like what you hear. Why don't you donate like the dames and knights do? Get on your PayPal or whatever, donate some money too. Get out your Pop Money app, donate some money too. Why don't you donate like the dames and knights do? Donate to No Agenda, the best podcast in the universe. Don't be a douchebag.
The best podcast in the universe.
Adios, mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Look, this is peak Karen behavior.